I gotta do it like this. This is stupid shit. I just did. Oh, shit, it's always some stupid shit. Okay, so fuck. It's a good way to start this live off. What up, people? Live is already fucked up. All right, appreciate y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. This one's already fucked up. All right, how am I gonna do this? Shit, can I even do this? No, I cannot. I guess. Fuck it. I do not like the way that looks. Fuck it though. What up, peoples? I don't have much. Yo, Marlon, what up, bro? What up, people? Just tapping in. Ain't much to talk about. I did a lot of music. I've been doing music again. Been recording music. And I do not like the way that shit sounds. I'm not gonna lie. It's I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of work to do. Shit's fucked up. I've been working on my house too. My third house. Not the White House, but the third house. We're running a lot of hiccups with that shit. Dealing with a lot of fucking bullshit. There's a lot of motherfuckers out here got mental illnesses, blaming that shit on astrology. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started to realize, what up? Kids is straight, they straight. Kids is good. Matter of fact, we got a basketball game tomorrow. But it's a fine line between blaming some shit on astrology and blaming shit on this on mental motherfucking illness and that like motherfuckers are retarded. So that's why every now and then I put out a video talking about astrology is bullshit. Because a lot of these motherfuckers out here like to do stupid shit and try to blame it on their motherfucking sign. It's like, nah, that shit ain't got nothing to do with your sign, nigga. That shit just your ass fucking retarded, bitch. Straight up. Like, somebody need to call you out on some fucking retarded shit. Motherfuckers like to use astrology to cover up they fucking crazy shit that they got going on. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you a motherfucking Libra, but that ain't got shit to do with your ass fucking crazy, nigga. So I had to cut some people off. I had to switch a lot of shit up. You know what I'm saying? I also been trying to check a lot of people who've been coming to me on some stupid shit about folks keep trying to compare. Like, I was talking to this guy, he kept trying to compare Egypt to Christianity, and he was feeling like, oh man, Christianity be stealing shit from Egypt. And I had to tell a lot of my friends, like, no, Christianity do not be stealing shit from Egypt, nigga. Like, I had to stop. I gotta stop. Motherfuckers need to stop repeating shit that they be hearing on the fucking internet without doing the research. You know what I'm saying? Because this shit is not the same. Like, mind you, like, a lot of people don't even know the difference between Egypt and ancient Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't even know that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Egypt basically started in like around like fucking 500 BC. You know what I'm saying? Ancient Egypt, that shit go all the way back to like fucking 3000 BC type shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, people sitting there trying to compare fucking Osiris to Jesus. You'd be like, yo, that ain't even a fucking fair comparison because actually, fucking Osiris, you can't even compare Osiris to fucking Haru. And then like, a Haru is the real Osiris. And there's differences between that shit. And then let alone you try to compare a Greek ass Haru named Osiris. I mean, Horus. You got to. I said Horus. I mean Osiris. I said Osiris. I mean Horus. I'm saying like Horus and Haru ain't even the same. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between ancient Egypt and Egypt. That's like fucking 3,000 years of, it's like 2,500 years of fucking misresearch right there. So then you start talking about, oh well, Haru was Jesus. You're like, no, he would. I mean, Horus was Jesus. You're like, no, he wasn't. There was two completely different philosophies. You know what I'm saying? Completely different. And then one, you know what I'm saying, Haru was about the resurrection of Osar, which always said Horus was the resurrection of Osiris. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ's main teaching was the kingdom of God. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he resurrected, but that has nothing to do with, they had two complete different philosophies of teaching. You see what I'm saying? When you actually do the details, completely different. You know, and I had to explain to other people too, like, you know what I'm saying? When you compare like creation stories, You know what I'm saying? Like you go to Genesis 1. Genesis 1 put the sun in space. Put the earth rotating around the sun. Put the moon rotating around the earth. So this shit was written in like 1400 BC, like 1500 BC type shit. You're saying at the time, over in Kemet, or Egypt, whatever you want to call it, they were still teaching that the sun and the moon was inside the earth going up and down. You know what I'm saying? Like ancient Egypt just had a belief that there was a god named Nut. You ask me, it's a pretty weird name for a damn god, Nut. You know what I'm saying? But that was his name. I was like, this is a weird fucking name. But yeah, this guy named Nut was hanging over the sky. You know what I'm saying? And inside this guy, the sun and moon going up and down. That's the fight between Horus, Haru and Set, or in Egyptian they call it, Haru and Set, or Osiris and Set, fighting, going up and down. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you was alive back in 1500 BC, you know what I'm saying, you had these quote-unquote Egyptians, Kemetic people, telling you as the sun and moon is inside the earth going up and down, right? Then somebody else come at you with a Bible, tell you actually this story say sun and moon and earth is in space, rotating around each other. Which one would you believe? You know what I'm saying? It might say, like, you go to Job 26:7. Job 26:7 say, the earth hangs on nothing in space. Job 26:7. Earth hangs on nothing in space. They wrote this shit like 700 BC. This is like 700 years after Genesis. It might just debate it. Because some people say Job is the oldest book in the Bible. I ain't going to get into all that. You know what I'm saying? But basically, this shit was written a long ass time ago. So you like, okay, so Job 26:7, go look it up. Earth hangs on nothing in space. Right? Now, when they wrote that around 700 BC. At the time, the rest of the world was believing that we was living on the back of a turtle. That was the Earth story, is that like the whole world was sitting on the back of a turtle. So you got to think from around like 1500 BC, 1400 BC, all the way to 700 BC. That's like 700 years. The prophets passed down the actual truth. Say the earth hang on nothing in space. You see what I'm saying? So right, the Western world was coming up with all type of crazy shit. Talking about we live on the back of the damn turtle. Sun and moon is inside the earth going. As a matter of fact, you know a concept called, what is it called? Heliocentrism or some shit like heliocentrism. I can't say that word. You know what I'm saying? They used to believe back in the day that the earth was at the center of the universe and that the sun and all the other planets was rotating around the earth. They used to teach this shit too. You know what I'm saying? Bible been right this whole time. Matter of fact, you know some ill shit, some real crazy shit. A lot of people don't know that the sun, in Genesis 1, you go look up, the sun was created after the earth. You know what I'm saying? The earth, in the Bible, the earth was created first. Then the sun, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, the sun was created after light. Like God said, let there be light, then the sun came. The sun came after the light. People, like a lot of people don't like that shit. They're like, how the fuck is that even possible? So I gotta tell you, you know what I'm saying? When God said let there be light, he wasn't talking about light like what you think of light. That's not light. You know what I'm saying? Like the same type of moment, like you have a light bulb moment. Like you'll see, like you watch a cartoon, somebody have a light bulb over their head, like ding, like a light, like an idea. You know what I'm saying? That's when they say let there be light. It was like the idea, let there be light. Mind you, go to John 1:1, they say the same thing. They say in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. So that was when they talk about the Word, they're talking about Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? The Word was with God and the Word was God. Some people say a God, some people say God. I ain't gonna get into all that. But when you talk about the Word in turn was the light. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? The the word of God was the original light that came before the sun. So when you say let there be light, the word was the light, like the idea. Like, oh, I see the light. When people say, oh, I see the light, you know what I'm saying? It's not actually physical light. You know what I'm saying? The sun came later. As a matter of fact, people are like, okay, well, how the fuck did the sun come after the earth? You tell me the earth was made first? Like, yeah, the earth made according to the Bible. So they had vegetation on the earth. You know what I'm saying? They had you know, they were talking about the fruits was growing, the trees was growing. They were like, how the fuck trees, grass, vegetation growing on earth before the sun? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't the vegetation need sunlight, you know what I'm saying, in order to grow? You know what I'm saying? Not what I'm supposed to tell you that light was the sunlight. It was like, no. It's a different type of light. So like, you got to think of it like this. If you take a seed and plant it in the dirt, nah, I ain't got none of it. Like, you take a seed and plant it in the dirt, right? You put the container, you put it in the dirt in the container. So you take the container, put the container in the fridge, close it up. So I'm saying, let it sit in there for about 3, 4, maybe 5, maybe a week. Having a week, you come back later with no sunlight, you're gonna see the plant start growing with no sunlight. That's called germination, the germination process. You see what I'm saying? So what does that prove? It proves that the earth is fertile regardless of sunlight. You see what I'm saying? Now, the plant may not sustain itself, you see what I'm saying? And that's why later on the sun was put in place. The sun only sustains what's only natural to the earth. You see what I'm saying? A plant does not necessarily need sunlight to grow. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they throw a lot of people off. You know what I'm saying? But the Bible's really that specific, and it tells you certain details. You got to be able to, think about these types of things, because a lot of people read and get thrown off. They be like, wait, hold on, this can't be right. You're like, no, actually, you think about it, do make sense. Like I said, the Bible's that specific all the way back then. You know what I'm saying? So, when you think about so many creation stories that's been totally debunked, like, what was the one I was reading? I think it was the Aborigines. The Aborigines of Australia. You so said. I believe that I could be wrong, but I believe that their creation system was like a bird, like a raven came on a raft or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just been debunked. Egypt has been debunked. The old Roman and Greek creation stories have all been debunked. You know what I'm saying? But the Bible is still active. It's still alive and kicking. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't know the Big Bang Theory was created by a Catholic priest. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even know that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of atheists like to use the Big Bang as a good creation story. You know what I'm saying? But they don't know that there's a Catholic priest that actually wrote that, and and it supports Genesis 1. Not necessarily it's taken from Genesis 1, but the facts of the Big Bang in a lot of ways still can support Genesis 1 if you compare the facts. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's a lot of people out there that tell you that it's totally different. You know what I'm saying? But you look it up. But a good way to look at when you look at your belief system, you know what I'm saying? Especially you look at something you're talking about like astrology and shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? That shit be changing over years. You know what I'm saying? Like at one point, you know what I'm saying, they were saying that we had 7 planets. You know what I'm saying? Then find out we had 9 planets. So, matter of fact, they just discovered another planet. I think like a week ago, they just discovered a whole nother, like they were saying it's an inhabitable planet near a sun-like star. You know what I'm saying? So even in just recently, a couple years back, they said it's 13 signs now. You know what I'm saying? It's not 12 signs. So like, it's constantly changing. You know what I'm saying? To a fixed sign like me, you know what I'm saying? Aquarius, you know what I'm saying? Taurus, Leo, what's other fixed sign? Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? We don't like fix. We fix. You know what I'm saying? We don't like shit changing up. We use that shit as an excuse to say it's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So, Bible's been pretty accurate. You know what I'm saying? All the way back that far. You know what I'm saying? And something else to think about too. You know what I'm saying? Like earlier I mentioned something else you might want to know. You know what I'm saying? Man, Aborigines. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say their history go back 10,000 years. You know what I'm saying? But as a lot of people argue that, you know what I'm saying, human history only go back about 5, maybe 6,000 years. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of ways when they be testing shit, like this some shit you absolutely must know. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you see people talking about certain history to go back further 10,000 years, you know what I'm saying? You always got to question what is their motive. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these times people be pushing a narrative that go back 20, 30, 40, 50,000 years and shit like that, and they be trying to do shit. Be like, no, whenever you hear that type of shit that go past like 7,000 years, always start using critical thinking. Don't never let them go past 10,000 years without remembering what I'm about to tell you. So I'm saying, because a lot of that should be bullshit, and a lot of these dudes, these quote unquote scientists, these theologians and scholars and philosophical debaters and whatever, they be trying to create a narrative. You know what I'm saying? That certain human history go way back like fucking 40, 50,000 years and shit like that. And the way that they try to prove it is through what's called I can't say that word, but it's called thermolucent. I can't say thermolucent. I'm saying it wrong. You know what I'm saying? But it's dating. It's called thermolucent something dating. So you have dating and you have aging, which is two completely different things. A lot of people think it's the same shit. And like, nah, it ain't the same. For example, like this is good as like this ashtray I got, right? Now say like we want to date this ashtray. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we run the test on it. You know what I'm saying? There's different ways that they do this. So one of them is ways they heat it up. Like they'll heat it up and see how much carbon get released from it. Sometimes it ain't no carbon. First of all, you know what I'm saying? Because of the ice age. You know what I'm saying? Ice age is about 10,000 years ago. So what I'm saying? So whenever you get artifacts to be older than 10,000 years ago, you have to remember that particular artifact sat through the ice age. Once you go back 10,000 years, the artifact already fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So just because they be like, okay, this shit right here is fucking 50,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? Just because it aged 50,000 years does not necessarily mean that this ashtray is actually 50,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? It just means it aged 50,000 years. And this is a lot of shit they try to fucking pull a wool over your eyes. They'll tell you, oh yeah, this shit is fucking 50,000 years old. You're like, no, it ain't, motherfucker. That shit is only fucking maybe 8,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? But it aged 50,000 years because the ice age throws off the carbon dating. You know what I'm saying? This is shit motherfuckers don't tell you. So, like, wherever they dug this up, a lot of times they don't take the dirt, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they be like, okay, they got this object, but it was covered by dirt. It'd be covered by other items and shit like that. And a lot of times, like, they won't test the other shit around it to see if the dates match. You know what I'm saying? That's a better way to determine the actual age of some shit. Another shit they don't tell you is like saying shit, like say this is a pot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a clay pot. Oh yeah, this clay pot is fucking 250,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like bullshit, nigga. You're like, okay, how the fuck do you know that this pot is actually 250,000 years old? Like, you know what I'm saying? But they can't determine the difference between the dirt that make this pot or when this pot was actually made. You know what I'm saying? Just because, you know what I'm saying? Like this shit may have fucking volcanic ash in it that go all the way back fucking 300,000 years. That don't mean that this fucking pot was made 300,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? That's the other type of shit they be trying. They do all this type of shit to pull wool on motherfuckers' eyes, and then they be trying to sell artifacts and make them older than they really is. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of scientists research be supporting other scientists in that same field. Like you know what I'm saying? Like say you like y'all follow me. You know what I'm saying? So you might be biased toward my information already just because you follow me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like when you go write your books and shit like that, you're gonna be obviously inspired by my work. So you're gonna think that everything what I'm saying is naturally fucking the gospel per se. So I'm saying, so a lot of these scientists who don't really understand that type of aging and dating and shit like that, they already going to it with this mind frame, not understanding like, Joe, a lot of shit is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Now some of it may be real. You like I said, like this ash may actually go back 250. The lava or the dirt or whatever the fucking chemical compounds that make up this object may actually go back 300,000 years. You see what I'm saying? Human history, you see what I'm saying, only really goes back about maybe 5,000-6,000 years. You see what I'm saying? Now, in the Bible, so in the Genesis story, they tell you that the earth was made in 7 days. You see what I'm saying? This is not 7 days for saying like 7 24-hour periods for how we look at days. You see what I'm saying? It's not what that is. When they say the days, you go look at 2 Peter 3:8, it tell you 1 day to God is 1,000 years. You see what I'm saying? So like when they say 7 days, technically they're saying, okay, it was about 7,000 years, basically. You know what I'm saying? That it took the earth to finally form itself until humans was able to inhabit it. You see what I'm saying? That's according to the Bible. So saying, so like you dealing with certain like Zionists and certain old school Jews, they'll tell you like, nah, that's like all that Aborigine shit that go back 10,000 years. They'll tell you all that shit is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But then you got other people that swear that it's true. That's why you gotta do your own research. You know what I'm saying? So and I want you know, so you gotta remember these things I'm talking about. You do a lot of research. You can see that there are fucking hella examples of times where like they be having shit older than it really is. Like it's certain trees. Like they be like, okay, this tree is aged 10,000 years. You know what I'm saying? But it's only really like fucking 3,000 years. You know what I'm saying? But it aged. You know what I'm saying? Due to the weather, due to fucking extreme cold, heat. You know what I'm saying? Global warming. They talk about. You know what I'm saying? All that type of shit. Things age different. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, black don't crack. You know what I'm saying? Black people age different than white people. You know what I'm saying? So you also got to consider like the geographic location that the shit is in. You know what I'm saying? Like some shit in Africa is going to age at a much faster rate than some shit and say where it's cold as hell all the time, like, you know what I'm saying, fucking Antarctica somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That shit's not gonna age at the same rate. You know what I'm saying? So aging and dating is two different things. You know. So they say in the Bible when they say a day, you know what I'm saying, when you look at the days, you know what I'm saying, look at day 4, I think they said the sun, you don't form and stuff like that. So they talking like, you know, these are within 1,000 years periods, not just a 24-hour period. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that shit. Also, too, the earth and the world is two different things. You know, that's a lot of people don't understand this shit either. Like the earth is the physical planet that we on. It's the actual globe. You know, saying the world is what makes up most of the time religion, governments, and money. You know what I'm saying? This matter of fact, you talking about the New World Order. That's exactly what the New World Order is trying to take over. They're trying to have one world. When they say one world, it's not the earth. You know what I'm saying? They want one world government, one world religion, and one world currency. You know what I'm saying? That's the world. You know what I'm saying? So when they say the end of the world, it's not the end of the earth. It's not the physical earth. You know what I'm saying? Talking about Armageddon and shit like that. They say the earth lasts forever. You know what I'm saying? Worlds end every day. People's worlds come and go every day. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, it's 2003, 2022. I mean, 2022. Last year, a lot of people's worlds ended. It was fucking hella people died. Hella people, hella celebrities. Hella people. I mean, you go back 2021, you know what I'm saying, with COVID and all that shit, man. Like, it's been a lot of people's worlds ending. You know what I'm saying? Ever since Aquarius went to Saturn back in 2020. You know what I'm saying? I predicted this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, when they talk about how the Christ and the Bible things will be here till the end of the world, you know what I'm saying? Like you think about what's going on in Ukraine, for example. Like motherfucker be, you know, sitting there talking, all of a sudden a bomb hit the motherfucking building, blow up the whole fucking building. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole area in the world, I mean in the earth is actually like certain areas of that world is ending. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's all the spirit, they say a lot of times they creep in after the fact, the things that remain is the kingdom of God. You know what I'm saying? The brotherhood, the preaching of the gospel, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot of times the things that come in and remains after the ends of this world. What the hell are y'all talking about in here? Let me see. Y'all talking about this? The Bible is astrology. The Bible is not astrology. I promise you, the Bible is the total opposite of astrology. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of astrological references, you know what I'm saying, a lot of Masons and stuff like that they use, you know what I'm saying, to try to, you know, what they call fusion, you know what I'm saying, religious fusion, you know what I'm saying, through religious fusion, a lot of times, you know, astrology, things like that are borrowed from the Bible, but the Bible is definitely not astrology at all. I promise you that. I promise you. Trust me. Time check. Why does this shit keep erasing itself? All right. Young Pharaoh, I don't fuck with Young Pharaoh. Nigga, I don't fuck with Young Pharaoh. At all. At all. Man, why do this keep erasing? I'm trying to see what y'all saying to keep erasing. Very true. I got herbs going to the counter out of the sunlight. Like how? Yeah, that's what we talk about. The fertilization, the germination process gonna begin without the sunlight. I'm a Pisces. I love your videos. All my close friends are your zodiac sign. Aquarius? Oh, shit. Well, you probably got some wild ass fucking friends. I know that shit. You probably don't. I could just imagine a fucking Pisces hanging out all day with Aquarius. That's like fucking Blueface and fucking Krishan Rock, man. That's like ain't no telling what the fuck y'all get into. I wouldn't even want to imagine a crazy love-hate relationship. I got a love-hate relationship with Pisces. Obviously, y'all know that. You know what I'm saying? Mostly hate, more so than love. You know what I'm saying? But I'm working on it. You know, I'm a lot of studying the Bible has taught me to made a lot of astrology take a back seat in my way of examining things, and that the Bible give you a way more iller perspective. You know what I'm saying? Than astrology. You know, not that I'm saying astrology is totally useless. I think a lot of ways astrology is bullshit, man. A lot of shit is bullshit. You know what I'm saying, but it is useful. You know what I'm saying? In when you having problems, from one, when you having problems with people when you first meet somebody. You know what I'm saying? When you try not to trigger somebody. So when you're dealing with somebody with mental illness, when you're dealing with people, generational curses in your family, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's good. But when you following astrology every day and like you know what I'm saying, when you knowing, like, okay, today the moon moved fucking 10 degrees, and you know what I'm saying, you literally follow that shit every day. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these astrologers out here, that's when you start dealing with motherfucking mental illness. Motherfuckers with mental illness, motherfuckers be crazy. It's too fucking separated. Like you just separated too much shit that's still fucking blended in together. You know what I'm saying? So like the world already bipolar enough as it is. You sit there try to call that shit like weather patterns. Like nigga, that a lot of that shit be a waste of motherfucking time. Like I got the light bulb over my head. I don't need to know exactly how the motherfucking I still know how to splice cords and shit like that together, but I don't need to know how the motherfucking watts, volts, ohms, and all that shit move that motherfucking in order to enjoy the motherfucking light. Niggas like to fucking cut on the light. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that shit run off all that shit, but at the end of the day, the goal is not to learn. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta know all that shit to enjoy motherfucking light. You know what I'm saying? The same thing we dealing with people. You ain't gotta know they fucking moon, ascendant, Venus, Mars, and all that fucking Chiron and ascendant just to fucking sit there and kick with a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I started to find myself doing that shit more often than not. Like I couldn't even kick it with a motherfucker without know. I'm sitting there trying to figure out, man, why the fuck you say that? And what the fuck is your goddamn it moon sign? And all that, like, man, that shit, you gonna fuck around, have a stroke trying to figure out all that shit, nigga. Like you better off, you know what I'm saying, understanding like kingdom philosophies, especially like when you look at the way a lot of shit is drawn up through nationality and race and shit like that, like nations. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that shit throw off astrology too. Like, you know what I'm saying? In certain ways. Because, like, certain you dealing with certain Leos, like, me personally, I think Leos like even though a lot of Leos fit the stereotype or whatever race they is, it's still certain fucking personality traits about Leos that just go across the board, no matter what fucking race they is. You know what I'm saying? But, like, you take, for example, like a Taurus, Virgo, shit like that, what nationality they is going to have a very big impact on the fucking astrology reading you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Especially when dealing with black folk. Black folk make motherfucking astrology traits come all the way to the fucking fringe of the surface of shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times, I know it's like, man, this just my perception. A lot of white people, zodiac traits don't be as apparent as when you're dealing with black folk. You know what I'm saying? It just don't. Like, it don't be on the surface, like in your fucking face. When you're dealing with white folk, like how you dealing with black folk. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Your nationality has a lot more of an impact than your zodiac sign in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta a lot of times go off that shit too. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of nationality, some shit a lot of people don't know is like, you know, Egypt. You know what I'm saying? If you go to Isaiah, what is it, Isaiah 19:25, it tell you, it say God bless Egypt. You know what I'm saying? But it's a specific set of Egyptians that they talking about. You know, and mind you, these ain't even Egyptians. It's kind of what I was talking about before. And they're like you had Kemet. Like Kemet is ancient Egypt. Then you got Egypt. But then even before Kemet, you had this shit called the Remech. You know what I'm saying? Which is REMETCH, the Remech. You know what I'm saying? Or you could just look at RMT. Now you got Kemet. A lot of times people abbreviate Kemet with KMT, but then you got the Remech, which is RMT. You know what I'm saying? So what Remech was or like in the Bible they call a remnant. The remnant, it's always a remnant. You know what I'm saying? The remnant is like, how do you explain the remnant? So like whenever some crazy shit happened, like a whole fucking city, like we're talking about Ukraine or some shit like that, like if God, you know what I'm saying, have to wipe out a city, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it like that, you know what I'm saying? But if God gotta like you know what I'm saying, be some people in the city. Like, you know what I'm saying? God got his people in the city. So he trying to get them out that city. So he got to destroy that city to get the people about it. So I'm saying, a lot of times the people who be the remaining people of the destruction, like in the flood, for example, they was called the remnant. The remnant. They're the ones that was like survived the shit. So I'm saying, so like Noah, Ham, You know what I'm saying? The first original generations after the flood, like Shem, Japheth, they were known as like they were a remnant. So I'm saying, so the Remech were the original remnant of the flood. You know what I'm saying? So like these were Jews per se, but before they were termed Jews, like this was before Abraham. So I'm saying Abraham was like technically like the father of the Jews, but it was like motherfuckers in between that shit. You know what I'm saying? That was basically like where you start getting Remech turning into Kemet. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like you had, follow me. So like after the flood, you had like all these different tribes, a lot of black folk, like Ham, you know what I'm saying? You talking about Cush, his, you know what I'm saying, the son of Ham was Cush, saying son of Cush was Nimrod. You know what I'm saying? So like by the time you get to Nimrod, that's when shit started turning into Kemet, which was ancient Egypt. So I'm saying, but in between from like Noah, you know, Ham, Cush, you know what I'm saying, the original remnant, they weren't necessarily, they didn't consider themselves Egyptian per se, or Kemetic per se. You know what I'm saying? They were just called the people. That's what Remech really means. It just means people. They don't identify with no nation. You know what I'm saying? They ain't no nation, no nationality. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a nation or nationality. This is before they even started doing that shit. So like, that's why you look up in the Bible, the concept is called Mizraim. Mizraim, Mizraim. Mizraim was the original name for what you call Egypt. You know what I'm saying? So you had Mizraim, then you had Pathros. Pathros was the beginning of Egypt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like so when you see Isaiah 19:25, when they say bless the Egyptians, these Egyptians they talking about like the ones before Pathros. Pathros was when niggas start tweaking. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what I'm trying to say. Like, if you was Remech, like if you got off the boat and you survived, if you survived the flood, right? So I'm saying all of a sudden, like a couple of years later, you start seeing niggas start talking about nationalism. They were like, oh, we gonna claim this land, and this is our land, and this is that, and we call mind you, the Kemetic people didn't even call themselves Kemetics. You know what I'm saying? They started naming themselves after the motherfucker who owned the land, like whoever was there first. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like they called the land of Cush. You know what I'm saying? But not, that's a bad example because Cush came later. But like what's it good? Like Uz. Like they say Job in the Bible, he was from Uz. There's a land called Uz, U-Z. You know what I'm saying? Now that was the land. You know what I'm saying? But there was a dude named Uz. Like Noah had a great grandson named Uz. You know what I'm saying? So like that's how it was back then. Like whoever had, that's when they started coming up with this shit. Like, okay, so whoever was first the father, the quote unquote father of that land, they was gonna name the land after that nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? So those concepts, that's what's called pathruism. Pathruism. It's come from Pathros, which is like the beginning of Egypt, if you look this shit up. So I'm saying, so like the Remech used to look at Kemet motherfuckers like they was retarded. Nigga, they be like, man, hold on. Like they used to look at them like they was called foreigners in their own land. Like, you know what I'm saying? They be like, Joe, why is you claiming land of some shit that's naturally yours already? Like they couldn't understand that shit. Mind you, this is the difference they call personhood. Like personhood and manhood ain't the same shit. Like a person and a man ain't the same shit. A lot of people don't know, especially in law. You go look this up in law. Like your manhood is your natural sovereign state granted by God. You know what I'm saying? Personhood is like what they turn man into. You know what I'm saying? Which is like your label, your name, your identification, your social security number, like all that shit. Like when they start attaching all that shit to person, like they say God don't like impartial. That's called impartiality. Impartiality. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a man, but I'm a person at the same time. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's impartiality. They say God don't like impartiality. God don't like persons per se. Like God likes man. You know what I'm saying? So the whole concept of like identifying yourself through nations was called pathruism. In the Bible, you know what I'm saying? About pathruism, Pathros, which is like the beginning of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? So things you talking about astrology, you can't forget the concept of pathruism. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, this shit came out of ancient Egypt. You know what I'm saying? The shit we talking about pathruism is like motherfuckers don't identify themselves by necessarily astrology. They identify themselves through their nation, through the nation's ideas and shit like that. So like you think of like a German ego versus like American ego versus like a Russian ego, like so they like the type of fucking what they call that shit, propaganda and mind control and all of the programming that goes into all of these different nations is totally fucking different. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like in the Bible what they call pathruism. You know what I'm saying? So like pathruism a lot of times have a bigger effect on people's mind frame than astrology. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, I'm explaining this shit very like the way I'm explaining it, you go look it up, you go Google out of this shit. The way I'm explaining it is very hood as hell. You know what I'm saying? But I'm only using, you know what I'm saying? I'm only explaining to you in the terms of for you to get a full understanding of what you're talking about when you're dealing with shit like Babylon, motherfucking Egypt, and ancient Egypt, and Kemet and Ramesh. And like people don't know this shit, and like, you know what I'm saying, but people don't even know what the fuck Ramesh is. Like people don't know that shit. The difference between Kemet and a lot of people don't even know the difference between Kemet and ancient Egypt, but they still be trying to explain these concepts without having a full understanding of what the fuck they even talking about. You see what I'm saying? So there's another thing like Melchizedek. Melchizedek was the one who blessed Abraham. You see what I'm saying? In what is it, Genesis 14? So I'm saying Melchizedek order came before the whole fucking Abraham order. You know, matter of fact, you look at Jesus Christ, like what is it, Hebrews 5, 6, and 7. They explain this. Like Jesus' order come from the order of Melchizedek. It don't come from the Abrahamic order. Like the Abrahamic order, like especially like the Levites. The Levites was the priests. They come from the tribe of Aaron. Don't lose you. I don't lose you. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't understand this shit. So you gotta listen to what I'm saying. So it said Abraham came after Melchizedek. Melchizedek just came out the ether. Melchizedek was like kind of like we're talking about Ramesh, and that like he didn't identify with like the nation he identified with was called Salem, which is what Jerusalem, like the word Salem is where it's like you look at Jerusalem. Salem or Shalom, basically, I don't want to say it like that, but Salem was originally, you know what I'm saying, before Abraham. You know what I'm saying? This is Jerusalem before Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? It was ran by a dude named Melchizedek. Melchizedek was a king and a priest. He wasn't just a priest. He wasn't just a king. He was a king and a priest. This is the first, they didn't even tell like where he came from. Like he didn't have no father. He didn't have no mother. His order just came out. He was literally like the first king and priest in the Bible. It's Genesis 14. He the one that blessed Abraham. You know what I'm saying? So that was a father, like we talk about fathering a style. Nobody came before him. It's like Old Dirty Bastard. Like I said, Old Dirty Bastard had no father. There was no father to his style. You know what I'm saying? Melchizedek, same thing. There's no father, there's no mother to his style. You know what I'm saying? He was the first priest, first priest, first king. So when Abraham came, you know what I'm saying? Abraham eventually gave birth to the 12 tribes. You know what I'm saying? Of the 12 tribes, Judah was the king, the kingly tribe. So I'm saying Levi was the priest tribe. So it's two different tribes. Saying Christ came from Judah. He came from the kingly tribe. So that's why a lot of Jews used to try to say that Christ's priesthood wasn't valid because he wasn't a Levi. He wasn't even a priest. Like you had to be a Levi in order to be a preacher. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when you get to Hebrews 5, 6, and 7, they explain, they say, look, Christ come from the Melchizedek order. He totally outside that whole Abrahamic lineage. He in the order of Melchizedek. You see what I'm saying? So this when we talk about, you know, being the king of Jerusalem, you see what I'm saying? Christ come from that order. So and his priesthood come through the order of Melchizedek, who actually blessed Abraham. Like they'll tell you, they be like, look, Abraham had Levi in his balls, in his loin. They say in his loin. You know what I'm saying? And Abraham used to pay tithes to Melchizedek. You know what I'm saying? So according to that same order, you know what I'm saying, Christ is of that order. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to pay tithes to Christ. Like, you know what I'm saying? Basically, that's what Hebrews is basically explaining. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get that same concept, but like the person who used to father that area of land, you know what I'm saying, was the one who ruled the end. A lot of people say Melchizedek, he wasn't Egyptian, he wasn't Jewish. You know what I'm saying? He was neither. You know, but he knew he had the same. It's believed that he understood the zodiac. He understood. It's not the Bible don't say this. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of stuff back then was pagan as hell. Like a lot of this, it's like you talking about ancient Sumeria, ancient Babylon. A lot of stuff was all mixed in. That's why you got people in the comments talking about, oh, well, the Bible is astrology. So like this, like no, it ain't, nigga. Like back then, that's how it was. A lot of shit used to get mixed in all together. So I'm saying, so you had people who knew, like Abraham, the people who knew, or people like Melchizedek who knew the difference. Like, okay, this is like somebody like Melchizedek. Maybe this is not in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to get you to put yourself in that mind frame back then. Somebody back then where all that shit was all mixed in, you had Ishtar, you had Sin, you had Jehovah, you had Baal, you had El, you had, you know, it's all before, you know, even the astrology of the Romans of Venus and Aries and Mars and stuff. Like this years before all that stuff. But back then, like ancient Babylon, ancient Sumeria. So I'm saying you had Asar, Aset, Ishtar. You had the what will become the Hebrew gods like Jehovah and all of those concepts. And then people try to figure out today, okay, who's borrowing from who? You know what I'm saying? But when you read the Bible, all of their history is right there in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? The history, all that history is right there. You're saying the history of all these other gods. That's the difference between the Bible and like all the other religions that you study in the Bible. Is that like the history of those religions is in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And they show you how they began, you know what I'm saying, eventually how they ended. You know what I'm saying? You can get all that stuff in the Bible. All these other religions, they don't give you that perspective. A lot of times they don't give you that perspective like that. That's why you gotta have that perspective and to understand, like, okay, this is where this separates. Like a lot of times what people try to do is blend this shit together. You know what I'm saying? But the more research you do, you start to see like these, a lot of the concepts from like what they call Babylon, the Tower of Babel. That's what the Tower of Babel was. They're like, they started, what they say, confuse the languages. You know what I'm saying? And like not necessarily language, like yeah, they had different languages like Spanish, English, stuff like, you know what I'm saying? They had different languages, but also languages of like just like how you watch my astrology videos. You can go watch somebody else's astrology videos, you watch somebody else's astrology videos. Everybody had their own interpretation of shit. This is when like the truth gets split into different variations and interpretations of things. That's what the Tower Bible is. So it's not just language per se, it's like the way shit is worded. Everybody started to word shit their own way. This is when Nimrod built the Tower of Babel. So it says, so like before the flood, there was truth. Like people, certain people had the truth. So it said that after the flood, you had people that was breaking away from the truth to create, like they say, make a name for themselves. So they was capping. They was basically clout chasing. You know what I'm saying? And trying to change the truth and put their own little spin on the truth to become like an idol to the people. You know what I'm saying? That whole concept is still happening to this day. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you can't explain where that came from, then yeah, you're not gonna be able to determine, okay, which was first, which was second, where does the truth stop and where does the lie begin? Like you can't, everybody to this day got their own interpretation. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with astrology, when you're dealing with zodiac, when you're dealing with things in ancient Babylon, like that's one of the main culprits of it, is that everybody's gonna have their own interpretation of these signs and symbols. When you're dealing with the Bible, it don't work that way. It's like it's only one truth. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? The Tower of Babel is where that whole concept started. Everybody being able to have their own interpretation of their own language or their own spin or their own way to clout chase and become an idol and spin the information to the people who don't know. That's why I say astrologers, a lot of times they always prey on noobs. Like, you know, very rarely do you see like an astrologer, like a very advanced astrologer go see another astrologer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're going to be studying, reading books and shit like that. But a lot of times, like an astrologer would never, for the most part, would never pay to go get a reading from another astrologer. So I'm saying, because it's like, no, I do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're not gonna be on the receiving end. You know, maybe when they first starting out, you know what I'm saying? But like once they establish themselves as an actual, you know, astrologer or zodiac read or palm read, whatever it is, like they're not paying people for the same services that they're giving to the other people. All this shit comes from ancient Babylon. You see what I'm saying? So this is where you get so many similarities between all these stories. Like, you know what I'm saying? Resurrection, child being born. You know what I'm saying? Virgin birth, child being born on virgin birth, resurrection, coming back to life, three gods coming into one. Like all of you, like, okay, why do so many different religions all have the same base? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's all the same. Like, no, it's not. So I'm saying all of these different religions all started from one truth, but they all started to put their own spin and different things on it due to what's called pathologism. Like they from their region and from their perspective, from their vantage point, you know what I'm saying? From their observation, this is how the truth look. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Bible is so precise in the way that it's written. It's like, no, it's only one truth. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to learn a different language or none of that. Like they're gonna translate it for you in thousands of different languages, and it's still gonna be the same truth. That's why it's different. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot of shit to weigh out. You know what I'm saying? Before you, there's a lot of times where like, I be trying to weigh that shit out more so to try to read somebody's sign. You know what I'm saying? Because when you actually weigh all that shit out, you start to see like the shit that you talking about is like the least important shit. What up? Hold on, let me see. Let's see. Taurus is the most evil sign. Damn. Threw Taurus right under the bus. Why I hate Taurus is coming when it's coming. It's coming. There's a lot of shit I can say about Taurus, you know what I'm saying, that I don't like. But I ain't been doing the why I hate. Oh shit, no, don't do that. Cancel. I ain't been doing the why I hate videos as much because I just been in a for one, I've been in a different study. Two, that whole area of practice is just, I'm just not in that area of practice no more. As far as, you know, just examining them things. You know, so eventually one day I will sit down and go back into that mind frame know what I'm saying, to put the video out just for the sake of just, you know, finishing. But right now I just have not been in that frame of mind. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I said, it's for the sake of this channel, you know what I'm saying? A lot that's how y'all found me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh man, that's one thing he good at. You know what I'm saying? It's breaking down all the negative traits of somebody's sign. But you know what I'm saying? The thing about doing that is like for me, when I put out them type of videos, I don't like to just go Google a bunch of information and just regurgitate information that's on the fucking internet. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a part of what it is, but a lot of I have to go through the experiences. A lot of times, it's gonna naturally push me to the point to put that type of video out. You know what I'm saying? For one, Poe is a Taurus. Poe taught me a lot about what I know. You know what I'm saying? My son is a Taurus. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I get towards the benefit of the doubt. I'm kind of biased toward, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of biased toward Taurus. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I'm Aquarius. You don't see a why I hate Aquarius video on here. And they're like, right, obviously there's a certain bias. Just like I don't have a Leo video. In that, like, I've always kind of had the motto for me that, like, if you start hating on a Leo, you more than likely you just a fucking hater. You see what I'm saying? So, like, Leos is obviously Leos. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you kick it with a Leo in for what the knowledge you have of them. Like, you don't try to take them out like a judge a Leo. Like, so I'm saying, it is what it is. The fleas come with the dog. So I'm saying, so the concept of hating a Leo is like literally hating the heart. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's I'm not necessarily biased toward Leo. It's just that the way I look at putting out a video called Why I Hate Leo is like it's kind of bad for your heart. You know what I'm saying? I just you know, it just don't resonate with me like that. It might like I think Aquarius is dumb. I'm not necessarily biased toward Aquarius. It's just hard for me to separate my personal traits from like it's hard for me to dwell on my negative traits to the point where I can put out a video talking about why I hate my own negative traits. You know what I'm saying? That's like you fucking with borderline depression doing that type of shit. It's hard for me to like to put myself in that mind frame. Like I say the same thing about Taurus. You know what I'm saying? Kind of biased toward Taurus. So it's not like I don't want to put these videos out. It's just that like where my mind has to go in order to do that. It's not just like ordering some French fries at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not these other astrologers who's just gonna jump on the internet and get a whole bunch of information just gonna put it to you. It's like I gotta go through that experience and like be in that ether for a while time in order to make it resonate with you the way my videos resonate. So it's a reason my videos resonate the way they do. So I'm saying, so like it's got to be authentic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna fake some authentic shit, but at the same time, I'm not going to put myself. It's hard for me to put myself in that position in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Just for obviously for mental health. So, but eventually, you know what I'm saying, I will do. A lot of times too, I ain't been, I don't want to say like, because I don't drink like that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times when it comes time for me to do them type of videos, I got to sit down and have a couple of drinks. You know what I'm saying? To do that. It's like, because I got to get out my normal mind frame, and I ain't been drinking like that. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't drink. I never even, even when I was doing those videos, it wasn't like I was drunk. You know what I'm saying? But like, I always, like back then, I didn't have a problem just, man, let me go get some beer and have a couple of drinks and sit down and write this out. It's like, I ain't been doing that. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing too. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just not the right season. But eventually becoming, what I have been working on is a lot of music. You know what I'm saying? Which has been actually dope as hell. I'm not gonna do that. I was gonna play something for y'all, but I'm not gonna do that shit. Cause I'm still kind of shy about it, cause I don't want to say shy, but like I'm still kind of cautious about it. In that I'm still, I'm still working on it. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know I'll go months before I put some shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna put it out unless I'm 100% confident, knowing like, okay, you're right, that's it. And it's just not there yet. You know what I'm saying? But eventually I will share some new music with y'all. You know what I'm saying? And eventually too, I'll do the video. I just haven't done it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Hood X experience. One of the X and Hood X's experience. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not gonna fake an experience. You know what I'm saying? Shit gotta be authentic. And y'all hear me too, like I was telling a Libra video. My dad was a Libra. He used to beat the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to channel a lot of that energy and go back into that mind frame, you know what I'm saying, to put out that type of shit. And like, that should be real trauma for y'all fucking entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Y'all motherfucking look at this shit like entertainment and be like, no, motherfucker, that's my life. Like, I don't be sitting around watching that shit. Like, I hate hearing the sound of my voice come through the TV sometimes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes my kids be in the room fucking with the TV and then, like, they'll cut on one of my videos and I hear myself coming through the TV, and I be like, man, cut that shit off. Like I don't even want to hear it. Like I don't think it was Johnny Depp. He was saying he don't even watch none of the movies he ever been in, and I was like, man, I can totally understand that shit, cause like you don't know what the fuck motherfucking actors and shit like my actors be channeling spirits and shit, channeling demons and shit. You don't know what the fuck that nigga be in channel to bring that character out. You know what I'm saying? And like a lot of times motherfuckers don't, like the fucking whole hair be dyed different, whole face, hair be different. Like motherfucker be looking literally like a demon. Today, like if it's you looking at it, you know what I'm saying, from movie to movie, you watch motherfuckers hairstyle change, different, you know, facial change, makeup, all that type of shit. Like I wouldn't want to watch that shit either. I'll probably see the same shit. I don't even want to see that shit, Joe. Like I was just trying to get through. I was just trying to get through that moment in time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all, like the way y'all see it ain't the way I see that shit. You know what I'm saying? I think it was Tom Hanks said the same shit. He was like, man, it was Oprah asked him, I think it was. She was like, so you don't watch none of your movies? He was like, man, hell no, I watch that shit. Like, is you fucking crazy? Like, you don't know what the fuck I was going through when I made that shit. Like, you just see the like in Australia they say the sun. You just see the outer expression. You don't know what the fuck I was going, and I sit there and watch that shit and remember all of the fucking shit I was going through at the time when I made that shit. Like when I watch that Pisces, I would never watch that Pisces video again. I would never watch that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because all it do is make me think back to what the fuck I was going through when I did that shit. I don't watch none of my videos. Like I'll watch it like when I'm done with this video, you know what I'm saying? I can click and then like I'll flip through it real quick. Like man, I watch it in 2x. I watch all my videos in 2x, especially my video. You know what I'm saying? Just to see like okay where I fucked up at and my words are slurred. Like I do like a quick diagnostic, you know what I'm saying, on the video, but I'm not sitting there listening to that shit like I'm giving myself advice. Hell no, nigga. You know, I'm sitting there putting trauma in my own fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, one thing about astrology has really helped me with, because I think if I ain't understand astrology, especially like astrology with my music, just before I got to the study of the Bible, but like if I hadn't have went through the astrology chamber and the zodiac chamber, along with the other spiritual studies like fucking zodiac, not zodiac, seven chakras and the Kabbalah and Comedics and things of that nature. Like, if I had never went through that chamber, I'd be fucking crazy. Man, I'm already fucking crazy. But like, if I didn't have no references, you imagine? But you imagine that shit? Imagine you ain't know none of it. Like all the years, like I don't know how long you've been studying. You know what I'm saying? You've been following my channel, but like you imagine you ain't know none of that shit, and like you was just out here like the fool card. You know what I'm saying? Like you was just out here. You ain't know none of the shit you knew. And like, man, you run into people like this all the time. Like, you imagine, like Poe used to, I'll tell you, like, man, you get so far in your studies, you forget that you done forgot. Like you forget what it was like to even have that mind frame like that. Like, you can't even remember. Like, you be so far along in your study, you can't even remember what it was like to even think that way. But today, I want you to really try to stop and think and be like, Joe, like, what if I didn't know none of this shit? The type of mental illness you probably fucking, nigga, you probably be fucked up dealing with the type of shit we be talking about on this channel, nigga, and you ain't had no references, nigga. You just kept going through the same shit over and over again. Like, man, that's in hood that we call the Mad Hatter, nigga. That's like the Mad Hatter, motherfucking Alice in Wonderland. Like, you literally go do the same shit over and over again, and like just keep repeating that shit over and over again. Had no references whatsoever. Right, well, what if you never saw my channel, nigga? Not just my channel, but like the other people you subscribe to, with all due respect to them. Like, might say you didn't know none of that shit. Like, if you want no internet, like, you gotta think, Joe, like, back in the 80s and shit, in the 90s, when this information first started creeping through before the internet, like, motherfuckers used to think, like, people talking like me was fucking crazy, nigga. Like, you think about Phil Valentine, motherfucking Bobby Hemmett, like, them niggas back then, like, in the 80s, before the internet. Like, man, please, you imagine trying to find this type of shit? Man, them motherfuckers probably sound crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Bobby Hemmett was talking about this shit. Like, not all this shit, but like, Bobby Hemmett was talking about the shit. He was talking about, like, the Baphomet, all that type of shit. He was talking about that shit back in, like, the 80s and 90s. Before the internet, like, when he still had black hair. That's why that motherfucker fucked around and have a stroke. Like, by the time 2000, shit like that, he be like, man, I've been talking about this shit for fucking 20, 30 years. You motherfuckers is late as hell. You know what I'm saying? And you imagine you didn't know none of that shit. Like, you was still walking around this motherfucker like it was like 1989, 1993 out this motherfucker. The type of shit you gotta understand, man, like, it's a lot of world population still operating like that. like I'm gonna show my age a little bit. But like I remember when Snoop first came. I remember when Snoop first came out. It was a song called Deep Cover. I was like, oh shit, dude. I can feel it. Mind you, Dre was out there fucked up. Like NWA had just broke up. Like didn't nobody know what the fuck was going on. And all of a sudden, Dr. Dre came out with this cold ass beat and put Snoop on and put a nigga named Snoop on that shit. I mean, the first time I heard Snoop, I was like, that's the illest shit I ever heard in my fucking life. You gotta understand, it's niggas my age who still think like they see Snoop today and still be looking at that shit like that. Like, the motherfuckers don't have no idea. Like, all that shit is bullshit. Like, they just see Snoop moving through the industry. Like, and this how motherfuckers think. Like, man, I don't know if y'all get what I'm saying. Like, whatever the fuck it is you into, like, you be in the Hollywood music, you know what I'm saying? Whatever pop culture, whatever the fuck you into, you see what I'm saying? And like all of the shit that like whatever your artist be going through and shit like that, like motherfucker don't know Snoop or Libra. Like you see what I'm saying? So like motherfucker don't know Tupac and Gemini. Motherfucker don't know Kanye or Gemini type shit. Like the people who fuck with Kanye and don't know that nigga Gemini type shit. That type shit. Like they just see him going through shit, not knowing. Like imagine watching that shit, him going through that shit, not knowing that like you know exactly why that nigga. Like man, that nigga Gemini, he fucking bipolar as hell. Nigga some Gemini and fucking Kim Kardashian and fucking Libra shit. Fucking like you call shit like you already know this shit. But this motherfucker's out here looking at that shit like with no like they looking at that shit just like all on one fucking list. This all fucking entertainment pop culture. Like motherfuckers don't know Michael Jackson or fucking Virgo. Motherfuckers don't know Beyonce or Virgo. Motherfuckers do not know Jay-Z or Saturday. Like people just be looking at the shit like the Matrix, nigga, with no references whatsoever. But you imagine if you still saw that shit like that. You can't even wrap your mind around no shit like that. You can't even take your mind back to even the way you used to think like that. You know what I'm saying? And the that's the benefit of, you know what I'm saying, knowing astrology. As far as when you're dealing with the matrix. You see what I'm saying? When you're dealing with the matrix, yeah, you got to put that shit in order. But at the same time, that's not the end all toward, you know what I'm saying, the natural order of this world and Earth. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think about the technology of this planet, a lot of people don't underestimate like planting seeds, like literally planting seeds, gardening and shit like that. Like that's where the magic of this planet really happens. Like people can tell you, like try to tell you all about Saturn. It's about discipline and you know the order of things and sacrifice and stuff like that. But what the fuck is Venus? Venus is love and it's about intimacy and romance and you know what I'm saying. What's Mars? Oh, Mars is about aggressive and warlike energy and Aries. And so, okay, what about fucking Earth? Well, Earth is about and as soon as you go to Earth, you're going to a whole different setting. Like you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like you start thinking about like Earth signs and shit like that. That's what I say. I got a video called Earth Ain't Earth, and like Mike, you're really saying like the world and the Earth is two different things. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't really get this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because like when you start describing Earth, the real magic of Earth is not necessarily ruled the way you look at the zodiac. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why you got to take the Earth. Like, the Earth is like totally, it's not the world, man. It's like you got to look at the natural state of the Earth is like when you plant seeds and it grows, the technology that makes something grow biologically. Like, that's the shit as humans, we been here on this planet for fucking thousands of years, and we still, that's the one thing we still can't figure out. Like, motherfucker get their arm chopped off, we still ain't figured out the biology that makes that shit grow the way it grows. Like the shit that makes the skeleton grow, the shit that makes people regenerate. We getting there, like with gene editing, they starting to get into all that type of shit. But like, it's like the one thing that this earth can do that no other place can do is generate biology. You know what I'm saying? And like that's kind of like planting seeds, you know what I'm saying? Having kids and stuff like that, and like healing, like when you got cancer of the body and like, you know what I'm saying, when you got diseases in the body and how you try to manipulate the biological cells in your body to overcome cellular fucking warfare and shit like that. Like that's the actual technology of this planet. You know what I'm saying? And when you read the Bible and they talk about a lot of times about healing people, you see what I'm saying? They say all who call on the name of Jehovah will be saved. You know what I'm saying? When you get so far in separating the signs and stuff like that, you are starting to tear into the nervous system. Like this why like Virgos, Geminis, a lot of the mutable signs, like with the nerves. When you talking about the nerves, you know what I'm saying? The motherfuckers hands start shaking and shit like this when they get excited, and the motherfuckers start tweaking a little bit, like Aries, impulsive, erratic behavior. Motherfucker gotta breathe. Like that's one thing Jay Kane used to say all the time. Doing, I gotta breathe. Because like motherfuckers nerve. Like when you in that mind frame, it fucks with the nervous system. You know what I'm saying? So that's where Jehovah come in. It's like right, like that's the one thing that can heal that shit. Like Bobby Hemming had a stroke. So I'm saying a lot of people who fuck with occult shit be having migraines and insomnia and liver issues, and motherfucker got to drink and smoke and to get themselves in his mind. Like when the motherfuckers do seances and shit like that, they got light certain incense and like switch mind. They saying shit like we say Eve had to bite the apple in order to see what Satan was talking about. Like you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people had, like I say I had to take a drink or fuck with the spirits or some shit like that. Especially when you fucking with occult shit, you gotta switch mind frames. So you being a medium and shit like that. Like you gotta, a lot of times it takes something to push you into that ether that's gonna get the reading to be a lot better than somebody who didn't. You know what I'm saying? So if you wanna break away from that shit, the only thing that's gonna heal that shit is when you talk about like the secrets of the kingdom of God, like when Jesus talking about the parable of the sower, like the guy throwing the seeds. You got a guy throwing seeds. Like some of them is landing in the dirt, some of them is landing in the water, some of them is landing in the cracks between shit, some of them is landing in the bushes with thorns and birds come to eat them up. It's like a guy throwing these seeds. The seeds is the kingdom. The ground is the heart of the people. You know what I'm saying? When you fucking with zodiac shit like that, it changes the heart. You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes your heart get too hard or it get too soft or it got cracks in it or it's got shit all in it. It's got bitterness or it's got insecurities and shit like that all in it. You see what I'm saying? So like motherfuckers trying to plant the seed can't plant the seed because the heart fucked up somehow, some way. But the one seed that actually hit the right heart, take root, go deep, push up, fruit, push up. If fruits hate, they say judge a man by his fruits. You know what I'm saying? The fruit of your actions, the fruit of your labor. You know what I'm saying? The fruit. They say be fruitful and multiply. You know what I'm saying? That's the nature of the earth. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with the nerves and healing the body, you got to think about these things. Like somewhere a long time ago, you was planted on this motherfucker, and like you're growing, and you're supposed to be pushing out certain levels of fruit. You know what I'm saying? This is the natural chemistry of this planet. This is what we come. So when you start talking about going into outer space and all type of other shit like that, you know what I'm saying? When you go outside of the natural order of things, you know what I'm saying? Your body, your health, a lot of shit become the sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? I don't say sacrifice. You know what I'm saying like that, but you know what I'm saying. And also all the people around you and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can become imprisoned. You can become like difference between like the lover's card and the devil card. When you look at the lover's card number 6, see the lovers outside, then you see them in the devil card, the same lovers chained to each other. So I'm saying, so like they say you become a slave. You can become a slave to anything. Like that's what idolatry is. Like when you start out, you like something. You know what I'm saying? What if I hit this? Oh shit! Whoa! Oh, that was nice. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, let me try that again. Let me try it again. And then you become dependent upon it. That's when you become a slave to it. If you become a slave to idolize anything, it can be food, sex, spiritualism. You know what I'm saying? Like it's called They call it in Hebrew alphabet Gamel. I think it's Gamel. Alec, Bet, I think it's Gamel. Gamel. It's like a, you don't want to say it like that, but it's like addiction, shit like that. You become a slave to something. A matter of fact, you know what I'm saying? Dude asked me once, he said, who is Jesus' target audience? So I'm saying, he was like, who is Jesus' main audience that he was talking to? Who is his target audience? He was like when you go online and you do Google ads, so I'm saying, or like you put out an ad, you know, like even these videos all the time, they be like, okay, well, who is your target audience? Who are you trying to reach? So I'm saying, who is the main people you talking to? White people, black people, 18 to 27, I mean 18 to 25, you know what I'm saying, 25, 35, 45, 55, like they're trying to like find a target demographic. You know what I'm saying? They're like, okay, who is Jesus' target demographic? Who is his main demographic? So I'm saying, now the wrong answer, like if you run up on a black Hebrew Israelite, you know what I'm saying? They gonna tell you, I think it was in Matthew 5, I think it's Matthew 5, I could be wrong. So I'm saying, but Jesus said, I've only come from the lost tribe of Israel, a lost sheep of Israel. So I'm saying, that's what Hebrew Israelites like to tell you, black people. So I'm saying, Jesus only came for basically Jews. He didn't come for the rest of the world. Black Hebrew like tell you that they're gonna use a Bible scripture. I just don't know what Bible. I think it's like Matthew 5. Maybe I'm probably wrong. So I'm saying, they're gonna tell you only came for the lost sheep of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Now you ask somebody at a congregation like the church, like a lot of times they're gonna quote Acts 8. They're gonna say, well, it started with Sumeria and Judea and then spread to the rest of the world. That's in Acts 1:8. So I'm saying that was his target audience. So you know, both of these are the wrong answer. So I'm saying, because for one, you're saying Acts is after the fact. It's after he dead. They tell you your target audience after he dead. So it's Acts 1:8. So then the other one, lost sheep of Israel. You know what I'm saying? That's when he was standing later on in his ministry. Originally, when Jesus started his first ministry, the first thing he did, this in Luke 4, the first thing Jesus did when he started his ministry, after he got done fighting the devil, he was like, I'm done fighting the devil. They were like, all right, about to kick it off, about to start my whole campaign. What's the first thing we're going to do? First thing we're going to do, we're going to walk in this temple, we're going to read the scripture, and then we're going to claim that we the person in the scripture on some Aries, total Aries type behavior. So saying, so that's exactly what he did. You go to Luke 4, that's what he did. Jesus walked right in the temple. He got up, they gave him the book. They was like, all right, read this. He read, what he read was in the book of Isaiah. You see what I'm saying? And then he read it out loud, and then he was like, that's what, and when he got done reading, he was like, yeah, basically they talking about me. He said this to the whole congregation. This is literally the first thing he did when he started this campaign. You see what I'm saying? And what it actually read, you go to Luke 14, what he was reading, it said I've come I've come to declare good news to the brokenhearted, the poor, which is poor in spirit. So he say the brokenhearted, the poor, basically it was poor in spirit. And then he says another one. And then, but the really one I would focus on right now, the whole point of what I'm saying, but I don't want to lose my point, is that he said the captives. Basically, he said I came for the captives. So saying, and like so that was his target audience, was the brokenhearted. This Luke 4:18. You gonna look this up. He said, I've come, but he was actually quoting the book of Isaiah. But Jesus claimed it. Like you gotta read the whole thing in context. Like he said, man, I come to declare good news to the brokenhearted, to the poor in spirit. And I forget the other one. And he said, the captives. You know what I'm saying? And then he was just reading the script, and he got done. He said, ladies and gentlemen, that has been done today. Basically, he said, that's me. They talking about me. Everybody was like, what? Like they had never heard nothing like that before. But that was his main target audience, was like basically what we call the captives, which is basically people who are slaves to other things like idolatry. Like you got some people slaves to smoking, some people slaves to porn, some people slaves to pussy, certain people slaves to food, certain people like you're saying, what you call captive. You know what I'm saying? Luke 4:18. That's who Jesus came for. You know what I'm saying? That's who the gospel was for people like that. When you like Saint said, lust, like people say like lust, you can't pray away lust. You know what I'm saying? You can't just go sit down and start praying, oh God, please take these thoughts. Like certain homosexuals who don't want to be gay and shit like that. Like they go, oh God, please take these. Who the fuck had said that? I think it was Chappelle when he was talking about Mike Pence. He was like, he looked like one of them homosexuals that be praying to take his homosexuality away. That type shit. Like you can't pray away lust. You can't pray that shit away. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you a captive like that, the only thing you can do is get fully immersed in the word. That's the only thing that's gonna fix those nerves. That's gonna fix that type of biological disruption. You see what I'm saying? We make it worse, believe it or not. You see what I'm saying? We make that shit worse. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, like I've stopped smoking, gone back and forth, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely, because what we do is stimulate whatever it is that you're doing. Just like alcohol, do the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit has this place. You know what I'm saying? It has this place. And that like I've smoked weed and done certain meditations and healed like done breathing techniques and shit like that and healed certain nerves per se, but like it won't heal the whole, like on a whole is making the shit worse. It's like they say, like certain wine, like they say certain benefits in wine. Mind you, they tell you in the Bible, somewhere in First Timothy, they say, man, drink some wine, like drink a shot. They tell you in the Bible, drink a glass of wine at least once a day. So I'm saying that's fine. It has its place. But when you become slave to it, when you become captive to it, that's when the shit is an issue. Like when you gotta smoke, you like, man, I gotta smoke. You know what I'm saying? That's when you become captive, slave to the shit. So I'm saying that's what they call idolatry. So you can idolize anything. Cigarettes, weed. So I'm saying it's I need this. You know what I'm saying? It's like whenever you start thinking about like that, other than anything but God, you know what I'm saying? That's when you gotta learn how to like adjust that. Your nerves is shot. You know what I'm saying? I talk about this in Vegas, and I got a video talking about Vega energy. So I'm saying motherfuckers get like bowel issues, irritable bowel syndrome, sore throat, fucking red eyes and shit, like dark circles on their motherfucking eyes. You know, some motherfuckers can't smell right, shit like that. It all be rooted in different nervous issues and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They tell us in the Bible a lot of times they get motherfuckers what called piles like hemorrhoids and shit like that. Like they fuck up your whole esophagus, your whole stomach. I got a video explaining this shit called your intestines will betray you. Don't fuck with your intestines and shit like this. Fucking nervous gut issues and shit like all this type of shit come from when you move outside what they call the garden. The garden, like the concept of planting seeds and reap what they call reap what you sow. So I'm saying you have to have that mind frame is much more important than having the mind frame of like the way a lot of times we look at astrology, the way we look at astrology. Like that's the end all. It's like, no, Joe, remember this is a garden. Planting seeds, reaping the fruit. Planting seeds, reaping the fruit. Especially even as us, when you think about us as fruit, like the type of fruit that's coming, you know what I'm saying, that you produce. You know what I'm saying? All of that shit line up. You know what I'm saying? All that shit line up. Oh, what do we see? Slaves to coffee. Coffee, yep, that's another one. That's an out. I can't stand coffee. Man, if it's one thing I can't stand, I can't even stand the smell of coffee. I can't even smell it. I can't, like, just the thought of coffee. Something it's like, oh, like Starbucks. Like, I can imagine living next to it. So I'll probably be nauseous as hell all day. Like just the smell of coffee, that shit make me nauseous. I cannot stand coffee. Let me see what there's no videos internet moon sunrise. But there's so many videos on the internet on moon sunrise. Very true. Now you broke zodiac down to a practical level. Other astrologers were just taken from Google. That's true. I don't do that shit. I had a dream you gave me drugs. I gave you drugs. I had a dream you gave me drugs. You know, somebody else told me that. They said, yo, I had a dream. You gave me some drugs. We had to bury that shit in my backyard. I was like, wait, hold on, what the fuck? Like, you the second person told me I had a dream, give them drugs. Like, I don't sell drugs. I'm not Benny the Butcher. I don't understand why people think like I'm not. I smoke weed. I don't. That's it. I don't. A lot of people think I was a crackhead back in the day when I was first started coming on this video. Man, they do like a crackhead. Like, no, I don't smoke crack. I don't smoke meth. None of that shit. I smoke a little weed every now and then. Kendrick made a song called Gemini. It's hard for me to listen to Kendrick Lamar, I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? It's probably pissed a lot of people off. But I think he's fucking brilliant. Like when you actually sit down and listen to it and like listen to the lyrics, I'm like, yo, that shit is whoa. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's hard for me to actually sit down and listen to that shit, man. Like, cause it's just it's just too like I was the same way about Wu-Tang. Like when I first heard Wu-Tang, I was like, man, who the fuck would listen to that? I was like, yo, what the fuck are they even talking about? But then like when I finally sat down and listened to it, I was like, oh shit. You know, and like it's like that even with Kendrick, but like Kendrick still just ain't he just ain't crossed all the way over into my subconscious like that where I can actually appreciate it yet. There's just something about that nigga. It's just like Lupe Fiasco. Like some of his shit is too abstract. Like I like a lot of abstract rap. You know what I'm saying? But his shit just be too abstract. Where it'd be like, wait a minute, nigga, you just said like 5 bars about a bunch of abstract shit and then just slid in some deep shit on like the fifth bar. And everything else be abstract as hell. Be like, Joe, that shit too abstract. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I listen to Nas, like when you listen to Nas, like you listen to Kendrick and you listen to Nas, it's hard to go back and listen to Kendrick. I listen to a lot of Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like a lot of I'm heavily influenced by a lot of Nas. And not just Nas, but other rappers like Nas. Well, like they like Black Thought. Like you go listen to Black Thought. You know, I can sit here and rap like fucking 4 Black Thought whole albums right here with no beat. And I can sit here and flow the whole fucking album. I got that shit memorized. You know what I'm saying? When you listen to that type of shit and you go listen to Kendrick Lamar, it be hardest. It's hard as hell. I be like, Joe, you are not on that motherfucker. No, nigga. Go listen to Black Thought. Go listen to Streams of Thought Volume 1, 2, and 3. And then go listen to Cheat Codes. You know what I'm saying? And then go cut on some Kendrick Lamar. You gonna see exactly what I'm saying. You like, man, hell no, I can't do that shit. I can't do it. Kendrick cold too. I just can't do it. Air Signs are the best rappers. I wouldn't say that's entirely true. I think Sagittarius got some cold ass rappers, though. Sagittarius definitely up there. And my Air Signs is good rappers, you know what I'm saying? But some of our Sagittarius rappers, they got that. Like you compare Benny the Butcher to Conway Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? You listen to Benny, Conway Aquarius, Benny, and Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? They both cold as hell on some Griselda shit. I don't know if y'all listen to Griselda. You know what I'm saying? Conway, but it's just something about Benny is more the total package. Even though like I think like lyrically, Conway is cold as hell. But like Sagittarius a lot of times be the total package. A lot of times Air Signs don't be the total package like that, man. You know? Like I use a good example too. What's the name? Like the Rockers. I used to like the Rockers. The rest of this old school is here. You probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. But it used to be this back in the day. It used to be this wrestling group called the Rockers. They had Shawn Michaels, who's a Cancer, and they had this other dude, Marty Jannetty. I believe he was Aquarius. I used to love Marty Jannetty. I was a huge Marty Jannetty fan. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they was trying to campaign him to be the champion one day, at one point. So he ended up getting kicked in the face and fall through the glass. Like, I'm fucking Shawn Michaels kicked that nigga through the glass one day. Nigga, that shit traumatized me. To this day, fool. To this day, that shit still fuck with me, Joe. Like, when Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty through that motherfucking glass, it was on a barbershop with fucking Brutus Beefcake. I'm showing my age. You know what I'm saying? That was the end of Marty fucking Jannetty, Joe. That was the end of that nigga whole fucking career. You know what I'm saying? And like, even though a lot of people liked him better, he was a better wrestler. He had a better presence. Shawn Michaels was just he was a total pack, and people they had no idea back then how big Shawn Michaels was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Because like Shawn Michaels, he was just a total package. And I'm only saying that to say, not to put Shawn Michaels. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times Aquarius, you know what I'm saying? A lot of Air Signs be cold as hell. They just don't be the total package, man. Like you look at like Kanye, same shit. And comparing to Jay-Z to Sagittarius, like Kanye just not the total package. Like Jay-Z just be the total package. A lot of times Air Sign we need packaging. We need like polishing, like a lot of times. Like we need our shit. Like we need somebody to kind of package it for us. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of times we don't give a fuck. A lot of shit we'll just skip over. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't give a fuck. Like man, people get the point. Fuck the packaging. People, it's about what the heart, what's inside of it. Like we them type people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we also too, like you look at Eight of Swords. Man, somebody, that was an ill ass. Somebody gave me an insight. Oh, they on Eight of Swords. They were someone's an underdog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times I used to look at Eight of Swords. It was hard to understand that card because it's a strength card in the air setting. You know what I'm saying? You got the motherfucker with the blindfold on, with the people all out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how the fuck is that strength? You know what I'm saying? And then, like, somebody broke that shit down to me the other day. It was like, yo, it's an underdog. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times, air signs like to play the underdog. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, like, it was on that song, Barry Bonds with Kanye. You know what I'm saying? Where he go, here's another hit, Barry Bonds. He said, I've been a very good sport, haven't I, this year? So I played the underdog my entire career. That type shit. Like you gotta look at it like under the Kanye act, like Kanye walked around playing the underdog in the Eight of Swords for years. Like Kanye used to do beats with Jay-Z, used to do beats for whole Rockefeller State property. Like people thought he was corny as fuck. Like Kanye played the underdog for damn near his whole fucking career. And that's why when you see that nigga acting like that, what you're looking at is like eight of swords reversed. Like that nigga, you like, nah, fuck that underdog shit. Like he kind of moved past where like a lot of air signs don't really go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you look at like Conway, he play off a lot of time. He got shot. He got that fucking face kind of fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he play off that. You see what I'm saying? And like, you know, it's underdog shit. Eight of Swords. You know what I'm saying? So by that same shit, when you look at Eight of Swords, you know what I'm saying, you compare that shit to Eight of Wands, you know what I'm saying? Eight of Wands is way more active. It's not over calculated a lot of times the way air signs be. Like we kind of over calculate shit. A lot of times we be overconfident with shit too. Like, you know what I'm saying? But we not as what's the word, man? Entertaining. You know what I'm saying? We put our motherfucking life on the line. We ain't even trying to entertain. We're like, a lot of times fire signs, other signs get the same point across with a lot less intensity, with a lot less putting their life on the line. It'll be more entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Same shit I was just saying, well, I can't do the video. Like, it'd be easy as hell for me to go, like, y'all probably wouldn't even know the difference. I jump right on Google a bunch of shit, come on here and just do the video just so I can do it. Y'all motherfuckers probably wouldn't even know the difference. I put a little, you know, take a couple shots, get over here, start hollering and screaming. You know what I'm saying? They were like, oh, yeah, that's a great video, great video. Like me, I'd be like, man, I don't even know. And I just Google that shit, put that shit out there for no reason. You know what I'm saying? I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's not entertainment for me, per se. Like, you say, yeah, I could be like that. You say, no, just fucking entertainment and just do the shit for the sake of entertainment. Like, it ain't like that for me. Like, it's real shit. It's got to be, like, based on real experiences. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, like, back in the day, like, when for reality TV first started, like motherfucker got, like, Road Rules. What was that other shit? MTV, The Real World. I'm really showing my fucking age today. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice game. Like Blair Witch Project first came. Like I remember reality TV first started. There's other shit before that. I just can't think of that shit. You know, but when that shit first had started, I knew all the way back then. I was like, Joe, this is how all like in a couple years, this is exactly how all the fuck TV gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like you think about that. A lot of times shit came out back then. You had Girls Gone Wild, banned from television. Matter of fact, man, shit. Hold on one second. So when I was growing up, man, this used to be my shit. You know, like y'all probably, I bought a VCR. I was like, man, I need a fucking VCR. I'm gonna start like the old tapes I used to fuck with back in there. I'm just gonna go back and get them. Man, I'm not collecting tapes. It's mainly like 15, 20 tapes I'm trying to get. Right, Jerry Springer, that's another, right. When that whole, right, Jenny Jones, Sally Jesse Raphael, when all that shit first started coming out. But like, this right here, this used to come on late night, like during fucking BET Uncut. That's another one too. Like, late night BET Uncut. Like, I used to see commercials for this, and commercials for a shit called Girls Gone Wild. You know what I'm saying? This used to be my shit. I ain't even fuck with Girls Gone Wild, but I used to fuck with this, nigga. Band for TV used to be my shit. Ghetto fight, yeah, I got ghetto fights, and I got bum fights too. Bum fights is another. But like this, that's a different era. That shit came later. I'm talking about a specific era. Like a lot of motherfuckers don't know what I'm talking about, man. Like when this shit, they used to sell this shit for like $60, though. It used to come on. It used to be an 800 number. It used to come on at the end. Like you be watching late night BET Uncut or like Comic View. That was another shit. I used to watch like late night, fucking 2 o'clock in the morning at Comic View marathon running. Same shit. You turn to MTV, they had like a fucking Road Rules, motherfucking Real World marathon running, and like in between them motherfucking commercials, you see it like call the 800 number and get Girls Gone Wild, or like they would have Banned from TV, and like I remember on Banned from TV, they used to always had a scene dude walking across the train tracks, motherfucking train used to come smack them off, but it used to cut right before it hit them. You know what I'm saying? That was on Banned from TV 1. You know what I'm saying? And y'all probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, you used to have to call the 800 number to get that shit. Like, you couldn't even get that shit in stores. You know what I'm saying? And that era was a wild ass era, man, because like I knew back then, I was like, Joe, like we everything changing, man. Like the whole concept of the way shit is being filmed, the way comedy had changed. Like matter of fact, I remember Saturday Night Live, you know what I'm saying? Saturday Night Live had to switch their whole motherfucking formula. You know what I'm saying? I remember nobody used to watch Saturday Night Live. They used to think that shit was the wackest shit because they used to keep the old formula. Like all their whole, like you could, like motherfuckers, like early 2000, late 90s, like when the D Generation X era, like when the rest of D Generation X, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, like that whole era of fucking New World Order was coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like during that whole fucking era, you know what I'm saying? Saturday Night Live took an L because like they couldn't change, they couldn't get with the times. And I remember specifically like the dudes they used to try to bring in that they ended up catching up. Like they saved Saturday Night Live. Like that dude, I can't even think of his name. He used to do he had a song called Dick in the Box with Justin Timberlake, and that he had another like he used to do rap songs. And he had a song on the ground. On the ground. I can't even, if y'all know his name, man, leave it down. You know what I'm saying? It was white. He was a fucking genius. He was the dude that changed. He was like, look, y'all need to start doing like basically YouTube type skits and songs and shit like that instead of the type of shit that y'all doing. Like he was the one that made them catch up to the internet humor because like internet humor was getting faster and faster. Just like motherfucking attention span was getting shorter and shorter. Like you had to deliver jokes faster. And like Saturday Night Live was catering toward like the boomer generation, like where the jokes were slow, like you could build up to a joke, and then like everybody started, it was like, man, what nobody watching that shit, and they had to change the whole formula. And I remember thinking that shit for years, and then I ended up seeing an article. One day I read an article. This was years ago when they was talking about how Saturday Night Live changed the whole fucking how humor had changed, how the internet basically changed humor, and it didn't just change humor, it just changed the way that we was consuming and observing TV, and like people wanted shit in a real world setting where like the camera was shaking and like it was like what they call gonzo. Like they had gonzo porn, like, even porn had changed. Like the way the angles and shit like that, like it was more high definition and getting closer in your face, and it was digital and all that type of shit. And it was like everything was getting like what's called in Vegas, you know what I'm saying, under the Vegas nerve. This is the shit that fuck up the Vegas nerve. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was getting right. It was like some Las Vegas. It was like literally Las Vegas right there in your face. You know what I'm saying? TV started switching. It was switching from 480p to 720p. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason I fuck with this is because this is like I bought this, mind you, just recently. You know what I'm saying? I probably won't even watch this on tape. Like a lot of shit you probably find on the internet for free. You know what I'm saying? But it was just the principle, Smokey. It's the principle, Smokey. It's principalities to this shit, Smokey. You know what I'm saying? It was just like this reminded me of a time of exactly what I'm talking about right now. And then like that was when this whole shit, like people don't understand where we at right now. Like people, you know what I'm saying? In order to say like where we at right now, you gotta kind of go back to like where we were and like and get shit like remember like Joe, remember we used to be on this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So as far as media, us consuming media, you know what I'm saying? I still got an appreciation for the old school shit, for a lot of analog shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I can see, like, you know, they call vintage, retro shit. I still appreciate a lot of that shit. So, man, I'm sitting there talking with a fucking Dreamcast sitting right here in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of retro shit, I'm sitting there, this Dreamcast sitting right in front of me. Like, I got two up. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's ill to still keep the understanding like where we came from, and you can also see where we going. Like matter of fact, earlier I was in the metaverse. Like if y'all seen me, like I got this shit called. I was just talking to some people in they call metaverse horizons. Metaverse horizons is like literally the metaverse. Some shit'll blow your mind. Like you get a chance to go check out meta horizons, metaverse horizons, meta horizons. So you be sitting there walking around talking to motherfuckers digitally. You know what I'm saying? I'm still sitting there with fucking banned from TV tapes and shit. So it's not like I'm stuck in the past. Like, so I'm definitely in the future. But to understand where we going, you gotta understand where this shit came from. You know what I'm saying? And like shit they going to now like 4K, 8K, 8K. You know what I'm saying? Unreal. I don't know if you know Unreal, Unity. Like I do Unity coding and shit like that. Like I fuck with. I'm not great at it. I be fucking around. You know what I'm saying? But I remember, like I said, I remember just a time when I knew back then, like that this shit was coming. When the shit first had changed, you know what I'm saying, and everything started changing. We going through a phase like that again right now, where it's harder to hold people attention, like with the old school shit, like even Facebook, social media, shit like that. It's already getting old. Like people trying to go into the metaverse, like man, I was y'all understand, I was up to about 3:00 in the morning, man, in the metaverse. And this dude was explaining so much shit to us. It was like, Matter of fact, I forgot I even did that shit till right now. So I'm sitting there talking to y'all. Like I was up to like 3. I didn't even. That's fucking crazy. Like he was just showing me so much shit you can do. Like in the metaverse, like with the controller, like with this shit. Like you sitting there talking like this. It's like it's all type of shit. Like right there, like you got this watch that you hit. And it's like all this type of shit. Like it tell you who you sitting there. Like you be sitting there talking to people where they at. You know what I'm saying? Who everybody you talk to is a whole list and this is where the fuck they at and what y'all did together and like all that shit is data documented. It's like it's I can't even explain. And I can just imagine like 10 years from now me watching this video like damn that's crazy. Like you know like I can just imagine where this shit is going. You know this is gonna be old already in the next 2-3 years. You know so even when you look at the Marvel movies, the way that they write these movies and shit like that, are becoming more meta. Not that's the best. Like what's the Scream? Like you look at Scream, like the Scream movie they just came out with. The last one that shit was what they call meta as hell. Like the movie was aware of itself. Like they sitting there watching the Scream movie in the movie type shit. You know what I'm saying? That's where this shit like this is why a lot of Gen Z shit, a lot of Generation Z, they like shit that's meta. Like when like if it's some retro shit, like the shit is aware of itself. Like if you sitting there watching like Beverly Hills Cop come out, you know, like they got Beverly Hills Cop 4, I think coming out pretty soon. Like the fact they they probably won't do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Murphy typically don't do this. He don't do meta type shit. But like say for example, like somewhere in there they sit there watching Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3 inside Beverly Hills Cop 4. That's the type of shit that Generation Z type motherfuckers want to see. Like you know what I'm saying? They like shit like that. Like, okay, well, the what's the word, man? The franchise or whatever is aware of itself. You know what I'm saying? And that's some shit I know. Honestly, I did not see that coming. You know what I'm saying? The shit I saw coming was like more reality based type media. You know what I'm saying? The shit that Gen Z trying to do right now is like make the media aware of itself while you in the damn media. Like, or to make the movie aware of itself as you watching the damn movie. They like to see that type of shit. Or make the, you know what I'm saying, make the production aware of itself. Mind you, like I already kind of went like was under that shit. Like that's why I think Ellen DeGeneres under the Aquarius Act, she was real good at that. Like as far as like talking to the production set. Like she was one of the first people I ever seen like consistently putting that shit part of her act. Like when she would sit there and talk to the production set. Now you see that shit, you don't even you take it for granted. Like you be watching a commercial now, and like in the middle of the commercial, the whole commercial breakdown, they'll show the director, they'll show they'll show the fourth wall. Like they'll make the production part of the commercial. Like the commercial is. Like I say a lot of times, it's a show about nothing. You know what I'm saying? That whole concept of like breaking the fourth wall, like that was some shit that like came out around the same time when we talking about like they started constantly putting shit to break the fourth wall into the production. And like I remember like when Ellen came out, like when Ellen first, like a lot of people didn't even know Ellen was gay. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Ellen got on TV and said she was gay. Like that shit was like fucking international news, nigga. Like that shit made headlines over in like fucking like Africa and shit. Nigga, like fucking Ellen's on TV. Motherfucker didn't even know who the fuck Ellen was. You know what I'm saying? Like who the fuck is Ellen? Like well, she's fucking gay. Like when Ellen came out as gay, that was like the biggest fucking fourth wall break like of all time. Like you know what I'm saying? Where it was like this bitch because like in Hollywood back then, like it was so many gay characters playing straight all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? She was playing a straight woman up to that point on the show. You know what I'm saying? But she was gay. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the notion of, like, a motherfucker actually literally, like, breaking the fourth wall and, like, actually coming out saying she was gay on this, like, that didn't just break the fourth wall of the show. Like, that shit broke the fourth wall of, like, Hollywood. Like, that was fucking huge that a lot of people forget. Like, that was fucking huge. That was one of the reasons why she continued moving as big. That's the reason she got as big as she got. You know what I'm saying? Got her own show and all that shit. Like she was literally like one of the first actors in Hollywood to come out on TV and say she was fucking gay, like in the show. You know what I'm saying? But you know, up to that point, like very few people would break the fourth wall. Like I remember like Fresh Prince would do it every now and then. Like you see Fresh Prince break the fourth wall every now and then. I remember at the end of the Cosby Show, the last episode of the Cosby Show, they walked off the set. Bill Cosby and Felicia Rashad, they showed them walk off the set together. Like that was the first and only time they ever had broke the fourth wall on the Cosby Show. You see what I'm saying? So like very rarely would you see people Arsenio Hall, no, Aquarius motherfucker, like he would constantly break the fourth wall on his own show. Like he would show the audience, like he would walk around in the audience. I remember, matter of fact, when Bill Clinton had ran for president, You know what I'm saying? He was playing the saxophone on. That was one of the reasons Bill Clinton ended up winning when he did that fucking Arsenio Hall. That's one of the biggest reasons Bill Clinton ended up getting a black vote was when he did Arsenio Hall, sitting there playing that saxophone with his fucking sunglasses on. You know what I'm saying? And like, but it was broken the fourth wall shot. You see what I'm saying? And then like they showed him standing there with the crowd. Like Arsenio Hall would constantly break the fourth wall. You know what I'm saying? And like that, a lot of shit y'all really taking for granted. Y'all don't really understand. Like y'all hear me breaking this shit down, but y'all really don't understand. Like a lot of this shit was calculated back then. Where like now the shit you taking for granted. You know what I'm saying? Because it was constantly pushing to the point of where we at now. You see what I'm saying? But like prior to that, man, like motherfuckers did Ferris Bueller. That's a perfect fucking example. That's a perfect fucking example. Like Ferris Bueller, that's a perfect fucking example. You know what I'm saying? Like up to that point in history, as far as media being made, like it was not that like you would have them type of movies that come out, but then like we like during like the 90s, early 2000s, we just kept it was like just all of the media started looking like that, where it was like on some careers breaking the fourth wall type shit, like it was like Facebook before Facebook. Mind you, there was a movie called Strange Days. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might want to check that shit out if you ain't never heard of it. I'm really showing my age. Like these motherfuckers had Facebook on tapes. Like it was like tapes. Like it was like a metaverse. It was like this shit. What the fuck is it? It was like you put this on, right? And then you upload a tape in that motherfucker. And you could basically watch somebody's life just like Facebook. Like you know what I'm saying? This one called Strange Day. This shit came out like in the 90s or some shit. They was talking about this shit all the way the fuck back then. You know what I'm saying? They was constantly like, that's why like people really don't understand, man. Like the early 2000s is a weird ass era. Like especially when you fucking with talking about like video games. Like you go back and look at like 3DO. Like a lot of people don't know what. Like I got a 3DO. Like games that came out on 3DO, like the Atari Lynx, or like just the weird era. Like when the first Xbox, man, I got an Xbox right here. Like right before the fucking like when PlayStation 1 came out, or like this motherfucker. Like when this shit first came out. So I'm saying it was a weird era. Like when the Dreamcast first came out. Like everything was trying to find its place. Like I remember the AOL, the motherfucking dial-up internet. They motherfucking had net zero. Like even before YouTube became YouTube. A lot of people don't know YouTube became YouTube because fucking James Jackson pulled a motherfucking titty out. Same shit we sitting talking about, like real time shit. Mind you, a lot of people saying that was staged. In that everybody was watching the Super Bowl, and you're saying, motherfucker, Mike Aquarius, Justin Timberlake reached over and pulled out James Jackson titty. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, oh, what the fuck? Now, mind you, the internet, people were just starting to understand the internet around this time. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, like, up to that point, it was like, you could go anywhere and find a video. Like, it was like like, there was no, like, right now, how YouTube is basically like the hub of, like, where people go to watch shit like that. Like, you know, oh, some crazy shit happened. What happened? I don't know, fucking Christina Aguilera came out on stage with a fucking dildo on. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, bring it up. Motherfucker gonna go to YouTube. Like 9 cents, motherfucker gonna go to YouTube. That whole way of thinking came from the Janet Jackson shit. Cause like prior to that, you didn't know where to go to find a video. Like on the internet, like people don't even remember this shit. Like this was it was an ill ass era. Like man, like right when that Dreamcast Xbox era, D-Generation, I call it the D-Generation X era. You know what I'm saying? Where like the internet was still a wild fucking west. Like you didn't even know where to go to find something. They like mind you, like you would have to click on like fucking 10 different things. Like you want to say like you didn't even know to go to Google. like this before Google, like you didn't even know where to go find. Like how the fuck do I find Janet Jackson CD on the internet? Like you said, like motherfucker go to Yahoo. Like Yahoo was Yahoo was Google before Google. People go to Yahoo and type in Janet Jackson titty. You know what I'm saying? Show me Super Bowl Janet Jackson titty. And what come up is a bunch of fake shit. Like you see like fucking 100 different pages, all of me fake as hell, have all type of viruses shit in there, fucking porno shit, fake pictures of Janet Jackson getting fucked, like all type of stupid, like it would be like 100 fake ass pages, like because people would know, like okay, like people trying to search for this shit. I don't actually have a video, but I just want people to click on my link. People fucking scam, hey, send me some money, all type of shit. And then eventually, after you click through long enough, you would find what the fuck it was. You look on a grainy ass video, right, like 360, maybe 240p. You'd see fucking Justin Timberlake reaching over and pull out that tag. You'd be like, okay, what website is this on? That website was YouTube. That's how YouTube became YouTube, because that was like, it was the first time literally ever in history, everybody had jumped on the internet all at the same time and was looking for something. It was the first time that shit ever had fucking happened. It was Janet Jackson titty at the Super Bowl. See what I'm saying? So that's how. So when everybody saw that shit was on YouTube, everybody started. They were like, oh shit, you go here, you go upload shit. That's how YouTube became YouTube. People started to upload on there, and everybody started fucking with YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But prior to that, it was the wild, wild west trying to figure out how to find something, especially a video. You know what I'm saying? So constantly pushing to where we at now. You know what I'm saying? Breaking the fourth wall. Like, that was intentionally breaking the queer shit, intentionally breaking the fourth wall. Like, people say that shit was staged. That shit, everybody know that shit was staged. Pulling back the curtains on this reality. Making the production part of the production. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, not to take y'all all the way left, but there was a video, man. It's hard to find now. It's very hard to find. It was one of the greatest videos I ever seen back in the day. It was called How Back to the Future Predicted 9/11. It's very, mind you, it was a lot of videos. It was a lot of videos out, but it was one that was just fucking great, man. If you scour the internet, you might be able to find it. Saying, and you'll know it's the one because it starts out with Marty McFly writing the letter to Doc. That's how you know you found the right one. And it's like, it's got this dramatic music playing in the background. It's maybe 11, it's like 10, maybe 11 minutes long. Great fucking video, man, because it showed how it showed exactly the essence of what I'm talking about in this video. How, like, at the time, the landscape of media was changing, you know, and how up to that point, there was possibility for everybody to have their own camera and shoot their own videos type shit, basically where we at now. You know what I'm saying? But you got to remember, like, the era I was born in, like the 80s and the early 90s, shit like that, everybody was literally breaking their neck trying to get to what shit we take now for granted, like the apps and all this shit now. Like, motherfuckers take this shit for granted. I remember having to buy like fucking 15 pieces of equipment just to, like, I remember DV tapes. Like you had to get, like, man, I still got some of that shit downstairs in my basement, some of that old ass. One day I should bring it up here. You know, one day I'm gonna bring that shit up and show y'all all my old ass equipment I got sitting down there. Like old fucking DV tapes. You had to load a tape in that motherfucker, and you had to get a DV cord, attach the cord through what's called a firewire. I think it was called firewire, into the damn, you had to have a whole nother chip to receive that shit into the computer. Then you had to have a program to upload the shit in, to edit it. You know what I'm saying? Then you had to have like fucking this is before Wi-Fi, dial up broadband shit to upload. That shit would take forever to upload it shit to the internet. Like, you know what I'm saying? The apps made a lot of this shit. A lot of the time the apps came in to solve those types of problems, to make a lot of that shit type of shit easy. But I still lived through that era where it was hard as hell to convert, to do all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And like when you live through that era and you see like these apps that come out that give you the convenience that you ain't got to go through none of that shit, it gives you a better understanding like where this shit is going. You know what I'm saying? Because you see the other problems that still haven't been solved yet. It's still a lot of shit that they still like working on. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of these apps, you can go and edit you can shoot a fucking whole video and edit that motherfucker right on your phone now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Back in the era when I was coming up trying to do some shit like that, man, please, that would have been like, motherfuckers had to pay like fucking $5,000, $6,000, like some crazy, probably like $10,000 for that type of shit. Like the type of shit we got right now. You know what I'm saying? You took that shit back to the early 2000s during the weird D-Generation X period when I'm talking about, the Xbox, like, man, like these phones would have sold for fucking like $10,000, $15,000. You got literally a whole fucking studio in your phone. You see what I'm saying? So, and it's still problems that, you know what I'm saying, that you see the technology is still trying to solve. You know what I'm saying? Toward those types of things, getting better editing, better filters, like the shit they doing with the filters. Now you can change your face and all that shit. You see that technology getting better and better. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the metaverse, all that type of shit, how you can automatically move. Like when you talk in the metaverse, the mouth match, you blink, all that shit, your arms, all that shit match. Like this is how I'm sitting to talk to you right now. It's fucking crazy when you see it. But it just looked like a fucking cartoon. But you sitting there talking to a whole room full of people, and y'all sitting there all interacting and shit. Like it's fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? So you know, there is a template toward what it is I'm talking about. Like, if it's better to understand that, like, basically a lot of what I'm doing is giving you certain templates to think about when you approach it. Like if you into that type of artistry, if you want, you try to make art, video games, 3D shit, or media, film, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just giving you like certain templates to run your ideas through before you put it out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's better to think about it this way, to follow the template than to not have no template. You know what I'm saying? Like things like they say Star Wars. You remember, man, like Star Wars back in the day, that shit was filmed like 1970s, 77, 76. Like, you know what I'm saying? You watch that shit today, a lot of that shit look kind of dated. You know what I'm saying? But back then, like, that shit was state of the fucking art. like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think about how, like, you can make Star Wars right now, like, probably on your phone. You probably make the whole movie right on your phone right now with little fucking, you know what I'm saying? With they didn't use no computer. They had real, like, they had to build the actual fucking planes and hold that shit up to a green screen and move them motherfuckers around. They had no computer involved in that shit. Like, they had to make whole model fucking ships of the shit. You know what I'm saying? Back then, that was fucking state of the art shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, saying shit like Tim Burton, a lot of his movies and shit like that, saying like there was no computer generated fucking, like, no, you had a motherfucker in a rubber suit moving around doing the shit, you know what I'm saying, that was required for them to do. You know what I'm saying? And man, I was watching the movie Enemy Mine. That's the crap. I just bought that shit on Laserdisc. I should not ain't gonna go get it, but I just bought Enemy Mine on Laserdisc. I was just watching that shit the other day, and I was doing the research on that movie. And like, nigga, that movie lost like fucking 20, 30 billion dollars, some stupid shit. Like, they shot like $12 million worth of footage. They ended up throwing that shit away. You know what I'm saying? Because they were saying like, where they were shooting at still looked like Earth. You know what I'm saying? Go look up the history of Enemy Mine, and you see like the producer gave the director, like, it was like fucking $12 million. And the director was like, yo, this ain't enough money to do the type. You want the movie to look like, to compete with the type of shit they put out now. It was like, yo, this is not enough money because we look like we still on Earth. You got fucking Louis Gossett Jr. running around in a rubber suit looking like fucking like a trash bag. Like, this shit looks horrible. We need more money to do the type of shit you trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So like, he ended up quitting. Director quitting. They had to bring in a whole other director. They scrapped everything and started over again. You know what I'm saying? They had to put in a whole bunch. It was like, they spent like $40 million, some shit like that. The movie only made like $12 million in the fucking show. You know what I'm saying? But you see, at that time, it was a major struggle, like, for them type of movies, science fiction movies and shit like that. Like, that's what I'm saying, it was like a weird, right before the D-Generation X era. It was hard. There's a lot of movies like that fell through the cracks of like trying to figure out where it stands. Whereas like other certain shit became the template. You know what I'm saying? Other certain shit just got lost in the motherfucking cracks. You think about like fucking, what's that shit? Celebrity Deathmatch. That was like a claymation type show, and they had all the fucking celebrities on there fighting like clay. You know what I'm saying? You go look that shit up on eBay right now, nigga. That shit like $150. You can't even find that shit. So what I'm saying, it was like one of them things that just fell in the cracks because like it didn't really follow. There was no template. It was a lot of shit like Dreamcast. Like a lot of games for Dreamcast fell in the cracks because they didn't follow the template. Like it was like a lot of experimenting, like trying to find this place. They didn't really bring to the table what the people actually wanted. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like same shit with the technology today. It's like if you doing some shit like that, you got to bring to the table what the people of that age, of that generation want. You know what I'm saying? Like now, like especially like as we approach like Pluto and Aquarius, like by the time we hit Pluto and Aquarius, you see what I'm saying? That generation gonna be so fucking far. Like right now we on like the millennial generation Z. By the time Pluto hit Aquarius, Joe, like they gonna be so, they gonna know exactly what the fuck they want, and they not gonna fuck with nothing else. Like the Pluto and Aquarius generation is gonna be like probably the craziest generation like of all fucking time. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you fucking with like the type of media, like you think about the shit. Like right now, it's a lot of like you think about Vines. Like a couple years ago, they had this shit called Vines. You know what I'm saying? Which basically became TikTok. You know what I'm saying? But I remember like a lot of people forget like damn Vines. Remember the Vines, right? You still go on YouTube and look at the best Vines of like 2000 what like 15, 2013. Like this is like that era, like 2012. The Vines. You know what I'm saying? The shit fell off. You know what I'm saying? Eventually became TikTok. So you think about the Vines trying to find their footing place. Like, you know what I'm saying? In the, like some shit that just fell in the cracks. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when you fucking with media and shit like this, you always had them times, the eras where like, it's like, okay, where are we going with this? Where, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I call it D-Generation X period. So I'm talking about 3DO. Like, them, like one day, Go on YouTube and look up like to show me show me all the 3DO games. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of videos. They do that. They just run you through it. And you see like some of them games fucking horror, like Rise of the Robots, like them type of games. You like, man, who the fuck would even think to make some shit like that? Like there's a lot of games like that, man. Like for the old school Super Nintendo, like some of them games, like Bebe's Kids. Like go look up Bebe's Kids for Super Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even know Bebe's Kids even had a fucking video game for Super. You go look that shit up. You like, matter of fact, I think that was literally voted the worst game of all time. I think it was Bebe's Kids Super Nintendo. So I'm saying it's like them eras where like a lot of old school wrestling games. You go look at a lot of old school wrestling games on Super Nintendo. You know, and you compare them to the wrestling games they got out now for fucking PlayStation 5. You know what I'm saying? Like you be like, Joe, like they actually fucking somebody signed off on this shit. Like back in like in my youth, motherfuckers is paying $50, $60 all the way the fuck back in the 80s to get them type of games, man. Like you look at that shit now, you be like, man, I can't believe people was actually paying for this shit. Like 3DO was fucking $500-$600 some shit like that when that shit came out. Neo Geo, a lot of that shit, like them fucking all that shit fall aside. I said you get these errors like that where people be trying to recreate the template, like so without really understanding the template. You see what I'm saying? That's why like certain games like Mortal Kombat become a template, but then you got games like what's that game like Way of the Warrior? It was a game called like Way. Go look that shit up. Way of the Warrior for 3DO. You see what I'm saying? You go look that shit up. You be like, what the fuck is this? You see them trying to duplicate what the fuck Mortal Kombat did, or like you see the shit a lot of times. Like you see certain movies. They be trying to duplicate what the fuck this other shit did, but they don't have a budget, they don't have a movie, they don't have a fucking template. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta have the right template. Or it's like trying to shoot Star Wars on a motherfucking 8mm camera, like back in the 70s. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like Star Wars only worked because they had at the time the most state of the art fucking shit. But like if they had us use the same template, a lot of these other motherfuckers using this shit wouldn't have worked. You see what I'm saying? You gotta have the right understanding of what the fuck the people want to see. You gotta have the right technology. And you gotta have the right blueprint that come from an understanding of like the age. Like I say, maybe I got Pluto and Libra. You see what I'm saying? So like a lot of our shit that we fall into, like I remember motherfucker told me when she was like, man, Pluto and Libra motherfucker will dump your ass over the most minuscule shit because literally like it's like Libra shit, everything gotta be perfect. You see what I'm saying? So like my generation. Man, I'm just using that's just one. There's a lot of other traits about like, you know what I'm saying, Pluto and Libra. So I'm saying, but like my generation, the type of media, the type of shit we watch, so I'm saying, it didn't have as much. It was a lot less emotional content to it. It wasn't about as much like we look at now like the shit that come out like Pluto and Scorpio, Pluto and Sagittarius, like especially Pluto and Scorpio, like the Gen Z, the motherfucker, everything like be super emo, super. It's more like about the it ain't necessarily about the mission. Like where like Pluto and Libra motherfuckers like, okay, what's the mission? What are they doing? It ain't really about that. It's like fuck the mission. It's like the emotional interactions that go on in between while going on the mission. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like men, you think about the difference like men and women. Men is like active, like in sports and shit, like especially in high school, like being active in sports and like physically competing. Like, you know what I'm saying? You compare that to like Pluto and Libra. Then you think of like the women, like the social circles and like the I don't want to say gossip, but like the gossip and shit that going in between and like who like who and who don't like who and who is dating who and why they broke, like soap opera type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's more. I'm only saying this in comparison to Pluto and Libra, but like, you know what I'm saying? That's how it look more so to somebody with Pluto and Libra. It's like, man, it's like some beta type shit. Like it's like it's way more focused on the emotional shit than the emotional content, the emotional intelligence more so than the you know the mission or the goals or like, you know, accomplishing goals and shit like that. Or like, you know what I'm saying, like type movies come out now, they'll fail the whole mission, but they learned an emotional lesson. So like that type shit, like they'll put some shit out like that. You know what I'm saying? So like and relate to your to those aspects. You know what I'm saying? So like if you writing a book, you writing a story, you putting out some content, some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that, you know, you as a writer, not just a director, you know, but if you want to write some shit, you are a creator of content that it hits that emotional nerve, like, you know what I'm saying, towards your target audience. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that it, you know what I'm saying, they hit your target audience. See, I don't know if we hit a gap. I think we should. I don't know. I'm sitting there talking around. I ain't paying attention. Gumby, Hunter video. Yeah. Total Recall. Total Recall was a big ass pioneer. That's major, Joe. Matter of fact, I love the Total Recall remake. I love, a lot of people didn't know like that shit. I love that shit. We're talking about going to the center of the earth and then that shit flip gravity. I love the Total Recall remake. But the original Total Recall, that was a very big pioneer of a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, the same shit you talking about air, motherfucker paying for air. You know what I'm saying? That was yeah, when Total Recall came out, that shit was ahead of its time. That shit was way ahead of its time. The Simpsons predicted a lot of things. Simpsons was another catalyst in script writing for me, believe it or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that, like, Simpsons would change motherfucking topics on the show like fucking 6 times before the main topic. Like, you wouldn't even know what the fuck. You'd be like, wait, hold on, how one thing will lead to another and lead to another and lead to another and lead to another. And like the thing about the Simpsons, the show would start out about one thing, and like by the time halfway into the shit, it'd be the switch the whole motherfucking show. Like, you're saying how like one thing would lead to another before it got to the main plot of the story. You know what I'm saying? Simpsons was one of the major, you know what I'm saying, first shows that to do that type of shit. Like, you know what I'm saying, with like typically like a show only 22 minutes, you know what I'm saying, long. Like back in the day, like the whole 22 minutes was about basically one thing. Like Simpsons will walk you through like fucking 3-4 different things before it got to the main topic. I thought that shit was fucking brilliant. You know what I'm saying? Also too, like with WWE has like that's some like you want to know how to like get with the times, man. Look no further than Vince McMahon. Man, I think he about to sell WWE right now. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But like you were talking about like somebody who consistently sell a product that people know is fake, but still sell out arenas fucking every week all over the country. And like some shit motherfuckers know is fake. And you know what I'm saying? Being able to create content and create characters that express and that means not only express but also reach the hearts of the fans of different generations, man. Look no further than fucking Vince McMahon. Like that nigga is a fucking genius when it comes to that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times wrestling had to constantly shift and get with the times. Like I remember like back in the day, fucking they had the superstar would come out, like he'd be fucking Macho Man Randy Savage. He'd be wrestling some fucking jobber. That's what they call jobbers. Like basically dudes would come out there to lose. Dudes taking a job. There's some fucking no-name nigga, Macho Man would beat the shit out of him for fucking 10 minutes and then just pin him. Like the dude would barely hit him one time. Like I remember that type of, that was WWF. And I remember how that evolved into like you would start seeing 2 stars wrestling. Like you would see like after like show after show, you were like, damn, that's fucking Macho Man Randy Savage fighting Roddy Piper on fucking regular fucking TV. Like that was some shit you would never like. You started to see that shit like whoa, like with main event wrestling. I mean, yeah, main event. This shit was on prime time. Came on NBC. You know what I'm saying? What's it called? The main event, I think it was called. You know what I'm saying? And you started seeing like 2-star wrestlers wrestling it out on fucking live primetime TV. That was fucking historic at the time. You know what I'm saying? And then how that shit evolved into eventually like what became like CM Punk. CM Punk, when he started grabbing the mic and started talking in the microphone, like let's like even like right before that shit, before they really revolutionized that shit. I remember when I started seeing wrestlers talking with the microphone all the time. I was like, man, this shit's stupid. Like the wrestlers is talking now, like in a microphone. What the fuck is when the fuck they start doing this? I remember that was the dumbest shit in the world. Like Joe, like people gonna really know this shit fake. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? They start it was the distraction that they needed to, because like all the time, like wrestling gets to a point where they're like, okay, like everybody's pushing the narrative wrestling is fake. So they got to do some crazy shit to change their whole style to get with the times. Okay, no, yeah, we know it's fake, but this is what we're doing now to cover up the fact it's fake. You know what I'm saying? One of the main things they started doing, they started giving the wrestlers the motherfucking microphone. You know what I'm saying? But like CM Punk was the motherfucker who revolutionized that shit, because like he started grabbing the motherfucking microphone and started saying wrestling was fake. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, what the fuck is this? Like, how the fuck? Like, which was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And say, like, they kept pushing. You know what I'm saying? Man, even before that, they had the full fucking attitude era. Like, you know what I'm saying? Stone Cold. You know what I'm saying? Getting into it, Vince McMahon beating his boss ass, drinking with beer, talking about hell yeah. Say, like, that whole era, mind you, that's a whole video within itself, just talking about that alone. But, like, say shit that, like, people have never seen that type of media. Like in wrestling, fucking women coming out with big ass tits. You know what I'm saying? Fucking showing their tits and shit. Fucking, what was that dude named? The pimp dude, Godfather. He was talking about the whole train. He come out with hoes and shit. You know what I'm saying? You had fucking Val Venus pushing the narrative that he was a fucking porn star and they was cutting off his dick and shit on fucking TV. He was like, what the fuck is going on with wrestling? Like, you know, same shit. Man, constantly breaking the fourth wall. They started shooting shit backstage and shit like that. Like, they had never done no shit like that. I remember when all that shit changed. You know what I'm saying? They start talking on the mic, and this all before CM Punk eventually came and revolutionized it. And like a lot of this shit, a lot of times you look at it, it'd be mind control. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason it's mind control is because they like able to tap in to the understanding of the generation. They can, like they say, the voice of the people, the mouthpiece of a generation. You see what I'm saying? If they understand what the generation want and they can put that type of media out, I mean, like, is it really? I mean, yeah, it's mind. Obviously, yes, it's mind control, but it's like, is it really mind control if the motherfucker there wants to see the shit? You know what I'm saying? They like are literally tapping into the subconscious of the viewer. I remember, like, what's the name said some shit like that one time. What's the dude name, man? Oh man, Jay Electronica. He said that shit once. He was talking about how like Jay Electronica is ill. You know what I'm saying? It was an interview he was in one time, and he was talking about how um it was difficult for him to explain the source of what makes of the media that he makes that makes the subconscious like the I won't say morphine, but like the when your third eye open all the way up, man, and it releases like the endorphins and it starts to release the like serotonin and like the chemical reactions start to kick in. It's essentially like when people listen to ASMR videos and like how they get tingles and shit. Like certain people would talk like certain voice, certain people when they whisper or they talk real soft, and how their tone is able to change not the molecular structure, but the like certain chemical imbalances in the nerves, like that type of shit. You know, I remember he was explaining how once you know how to tap in to that energy, you basically can do anything. Like there's no limits to where the mind can go or where you can take somebody's mind. If you tap all the way into that understanding, and we have a responsibility as not only as artists but also like I don't say spiritualist. That's a fucking fucked up word. But like in the Bible, they call it magi. You know what I'm saying? But like we have a responsibility as um, influencers. That's a better word. To influence in a positive way, more so than a negative way. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of my content has switched. Because like I put out a lot of negative content, but I put it out in a way to shock people to the point where they make a change. Like, I mean, a lot of critics is real big on shock value. Like, you look at this Jerry Springer. We were talking about earlier, Jerry Springer. Like, so we big on trying to shock people into the truth. You know what I'm saying? So it look a certain way, but like Tupac said, he said, man, it's like I'm gonna put thug life, it's like thug life shit. I'm gonna put thug life in front of the people and make them see and shock people into what's going on, into the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like thug life mentality type shit. So, we want to create, even if we're trying to shock, or even if we're trying to, we don't want to do shit just to shock per se. We want to have a moral implications. You know what I'm saying? Good moral implications. That's where the Bible, stuff like the Bible come in. You know what I'm saying? It's also Jews make the best lawyers. You know, because like a Jew can read a story that you read the same story, and they be like, okay, what was that about? I'm saying, and the Jew will explain the story in a whole different way that you gonna explain the story. You know what I'm saying? Because the Jew gonna explain it for like we say like the moral implications of the story, more so than just like what happened on the surface. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta be able to interpret. You gotta have the right interpretation. You know what I'm saying? And if you depending on, that's why it's a lot of times people about the Bible. People going around, oh, the Bible. What's the Bible about? I do this all the time, not knowing this shit comes out of the Bible. Like in the Bible, they sit around and do the same shit all the time. You go to Matthew 22:37. That's what they were sitting around one day and motherfucker asked Jesus, hey, Jesus. He's like, what's up? Like, what's the greatest teaching in the law? He's like, oh, that's Deuteronomy 6:5. Love Jehovah with your whole heart, whole mind, whole soul. Second is to love your neighbor just like. Mind you, that's called the Shema in Jewish. You know what I'm saying? So like they sit around and do this shit all day back in the day. Oh, well, how many days? How many days is to God? Oh, that's 2 Peter 3:8. That's 1,000 days is 1 year to God. They just, you know what I'm saying? So like back in the day, somebody asked you, Mike, you didn't necessarily say you believe in it. You know what I'm saying? You be like, okay, what's the Bible about? Oh man, that shit is bullshit. That's a bunch of fairy tales, fake shit. Motherfucking the father raping little girl so she can have a baby with him, and like people start talking like this. You see what I'm saying? You're like, Joe, that's not what that's. Joe, what's the Marvel the MCU about? Oh, that's the Marvel superheroes. That's how they become superheroes and fight the villains and stuff like that. Okay, cool. What's what's wrestling about? Oh, wrestling. That's two guys competing in the ring and they grappling, and the goal is to pin the guy 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. What's the Bible about? Oh, that's some fake shit. That's fairy tale. That's fucking Sky Daddy. Fucking atheists love to say Sky Daddy. It's fucking Sky Daddy. Your little Sky Daddy is fucking running around it. Like, okay, no. I see. I asked you, what's Harry Potter about? Oh, Harry Potter is about the guy with the little boy. He had the magic powers. Right. You see how you tell me what you don't. All this shit is fake. According, you know what I'm saying? Wrestling is fake. MCU is fake. Harry Potter is fake. But when you ask about the Bible, you the only motherfucker you gonna point out is fake. Oh, you want fake? It's fucking fake. It's like Joe, okay, why do you gotta say people do this shit all the time, especially when it comes to the Bible? You're saying because their mind goes where the opposite of like a Jew. You ask a Jewish lawyer, you're like, what's the Bible about? They're like, well, they can like say you ask somebody what's the law, go read the law. You know what I'm saying? Okay, they just made a new law. What's the new law? Okay, weed is legal. Okay, cool. Bringing up that law and actually read that law. So I'm saying it's gonna be about fucking 15 pages. It's like motherfucker actually can't sit there and read that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because your mind gonna start doing the same shit that it do when motherfucker ask you what the Bible's about. So I'm saying you gonna start tweaking. You be like, oh, it's fucking I can't read. This is like my shit written in English, but motherfucker reading comprehension, motherfuckers' minds tweak. You know what I'm saying? That's why Jews have way higher IQ, and then you can put some what you call boring shit right in front of the motherfucker to break that shit down word for word, exactly what it is, what it's about. What's Jesus' main teaching? Oh, Jesus' main teaching. Go to Acts 1:3. They tell you he was teaching about the kingdom of God. Matthew 6:33, kingdom of God. You know what I'm saying? Was it John 18:25? I think it is. I could be wrong. He says, "My kingdom is not of this world." So then you got Matthew 6. I think it's 6:10, 6:11. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. So it's kingdom. So you understand this. See how everything else works out on an IQ level. How everything is interconnected to that. That's the centerpiece. So I'm saying, so like if you don't have IQ to look at that shit, you know what I'm saying? That's why Jews can read a certain story, like motherfucker put a crime in front of you. Okay, like man come home, find his wife cheating. The guy she's cheating with gets up, attacks the husband. Husband fights back, shoots and kills the man. So I'm saying, now they put this story in front of you. They're like, okay, no. How do you judge this situation? So I'm saying, nah, they put it in front of you. They put it in front of a fucking Jewish lawyer or a fucking judge. So I'm saying, the moral implications that the way they gonna judge that shit ain't gonna be the way you judge it. So I'm saying, because like you're not trained on what the template is on how to even weigh some shit like that out. So I'm saying, like, we're talking about like Libra scale shit, like a lot of time Libras to their benefit. Man, that shit, I feel like already uncomfortable saying this shit, but a lot of times they will do shit by the book, per se, as far as like when you weighing out some bullshit, like they will honestly, without bias, look at both sides, like, you know what I'm saying, and like have some type of template toward weighing the shit out. But a lot of times they shit still ain't based on, I don't say biblical principle, but that's what you should base it on, because these are the shit that make up the laws. This is why Jewish lawyers make the best fucking lawyers. They're the ones that write, like they're the ones that influence the writers of the law. You know what I'm saying? Like, people do not understand this shit. Like, the state constitution, I'm going on a fucking rant. Here we go. So, like, the state constitutions is all dedicated to God. Like, the main constitution of the United States is dedicated to the year of our Lord. So I'm saying, but the state constitution is dedicated to God. So I'm saying, so, like, when you see the motherfucking, the governor or the judge or the president or the military or the police or the fire department or even the doctors who do a Hippocratic oath, they put their hand on the Bible and take the oath. They're giving them what's called authority. That authority comes from what's called divine right of kings, which is apostolic succession, which is executive, judicial, legislative authority. All authority, you got to take an oath. You got to put your hand on the Bible and take. That's where you get the authority to go in. And military can run up in your house. Police can pull a gun and shoot a motherfucker. Fire department can, run up in your house. The doctor has to do shit according to Hippocratic oath. I mean, it has to have the right moral implications of what it is that you're doing. If not, you can't get that authority. You got to take an oath and say, look, I promise, even though I may not even believe in Christianity, you know what I'm saying? But the way that the laws is written, the way that the things that govern you is written, is that it has to go through this moral code. You know what I'm saying? This is where authority comes from the state. Like the state, the governor don't get his authority from his mother. He don't get it from his daddy. He don't get it from the president per se. They get it from, that's what they say, I promise to protect the state constitution because the constitution is dedicated to God. So they say all authority is coming from God. Might say the same thing, Matthew 28:18. So like if you don't understand these things, like you vote for motherfuckers to rule over you who do understand these things. Like, so if they understand, like, okay, how the things from the Bible become part of the moral implications of the nation. You know what I'm saying? This is what we were talking about before about patriotism. Like choosing nationalism over sovereign, I don't want to say sovereign, but it is like God-given understanding of how kingdoms, like the moral implication of a kingdom, or in this case we call it government. You know what I'm saying? How governments get created. There has to be a moral implication. A lot of those laws, the way you get written, you got to be able to pay attention to detail. You got to be able to read like certain stories in the Bible, understand the right moral implications of it, and be able to put those things into practice in the law. You know what I'm saying? So if I put a story in front of you and you start breaking down how this motherfucker's a Taurus and how this motherfucker's a Virgo and how this motherfucker's stubborn and how at the time the fucking Saturn was in Aquarius and shit, like Joe, that's not how you supposed to derive the moral implications from that story. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you don't understand how to read the Bible and like how certain shit is based on, like, you know what I'm saying, you're not gonna understand it. I'll give you a real good example. Like a lot of times in the Bible, people think that like with Jesus, he say who cast the first stone, who has not seen cast the first stone. I think it's John 8. I think it's John 8. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they take this shit out the Bible. You know what I'm saying? It's like the first 10 passages. I think it's like John 8, 1 through 10 or 1 through 8. A lot of times, I could be wrong, but it's the story of the woman who got caught cheating. You know what I'm saying? She got caught cheating. So I'm saying, so they bring her out to Jesus, and then mind you, it say somewhere in verse 6, it say they was trying to trick him. So they were trying to trick Jesus. So saying, they be like, okay, look, this woman got caught cheating. You know what I'm saying? The law say we should stone her to death. And he's like, what do you think we should do? So Jesus got down, he started drawing a line in the sand. He's acting like he couldn't hear him. They're like, man, don't you hear us? This woman got caught cheating. They say we're supposed to stone her to death. What do you think we should do? You know what I'm saying? And then Jesus got up. He said, he who has not sinned cast the first stone. So I'm saying, and then so all of them threw the rocks down and walked off. So I'm saying, and Jesus looked at one. He said, don't sin no more. He said, go and don't sin no more. Now, a lot of times people look at this in a way, they say, okay, what's the moral implications of this story? The moral implications of this story, people tell you, is that love and forgiveness is that, you know, we all sin. Therefore, how you gonna judge somebody else? You can't judge somebody else if we've all sinned. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times, this is the moral implication most people take away from that story. You see what I'm saying? Which is exactly why that story had to be taken out the Bible. So I'm saying, because that was not the original moral implications of that story. You see what I'm saying? Because like you gotta understand, back then. Before I tell you this, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me pause. Before I tell you this, you understand why I'm not telling you this to awe and ooh. I'm telling you this because, like I said before, like if you don't have the right template, you don't understand why shit is doing what it's doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, you have to look at it this way. There's only one. It's like, Joe, look at it this way. Don't trust your own understanding, because your own understanding a lot of times do not have all the details you think that you need. You see what I'm saying? So like. You gotta understand, this story's been told for over like 2,000 years, and especially by a lot of women and men who be trying to teach the story of forgiveness. It's like yeah, you know, he was not saying cast the first stone. Like, okay, who are you to judge me? A lot of times people explain, it's like, Joe, that ain't even what the fuck that is. Like, so I'm saying, the real story behind that is that you got to really stop and think and say, okay, go back to verse 6. They say, Joe, they were trying to trick Jesus. Okay, they trying to trick him. Okay, how they, like, okay, they trying to trick him. Okay, they trying to trick him. Okay, explain the story one more time. They walked up to him with the woman. They said, the woman cheated. Asked him what she do. And Jesus said, who's that cast the first sin? I mean, who had not seen cast the first stone? They walked away. Okay, where was the trick? How were they trying to trick him? Like, where's the trick? Okay, the trick is, and mind you, they not just trying to trick Jesus. They trying to trick you too. As a reader, This happens a lot in the Bible. Like the Bible, they don't say they're trying to trick you, but it's like the Bible will do shit to make sure you paying attention. It's like, Joe, you paying attention? Like we just told you Cain was fucking with the ground, sacrificing and saved, but we just told you God cursed the ground in the Persia chapter. You know, like the Bible do shit like this all the time. So I'm saying, so like a lot of times people make up their own interpretation. Like that's what Cain do. So I'm saying, like, okay, why wasn't Cain's sacrifice taken? Oh, because it was half-hearted. Oh, because he didn't have blood. I'm like, no, none of that shit, nigga. According to the scripture, it was because the ground was cursed in Genesis 3. And he was picking up shit off the ground. That's just according, without no outside interpretation, that's just according to scripture. So it says you got to keep shit in context of what it is. So you're like, okay, what about with this woman? How are they trying to trick Jesus? They trying to trick him, and they trying to trick you because we sitting there talking about a woman cheating. Right, a woman cheated, right? Right, okay. Who did she cheat on? She cheated on her husband, right? Okay. Where the fuck is the husband at in this story? Right. Right. They're trying to trick you. Right? Right. Now, motherfucker, read over that shit and don't even see right there in verse 6 and 7. You know they're trying to trick you. So, well, how? Well, where the fuck is the husband at? Oh, right. Where the fuck is the husband at? Right. Jesus knew this. Like, just like I know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus, like, okay. Jesus sitting there against, like, okay, y'all gonna bring me a woman. But it's a whole nother way they trying to trick you, too. I'm about to break that down, too. Like, so saying, Jesus looking at this like, okay, they trying to trick me. They want me to say, to stone this woman to death. Right? That's what they want me to say. Yeah, she cheated. That's the law, right? So you gotta say from the Pharisees' perspective, they not just gonna kick shit off like this. You gotta look at like the way they tell the story. They not just gonna bring, oh look, this bitch cheated. According to the law, we're supposed to kill her. So what happened? They try to say, okay, forgiveness is bigger than the law. No, Jesus still wrong with the law. Jesus ain't gonna go against the law. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, no, the law's still in effect, but the law also say is that the husband is the one that's supposed to choose whether to stone her to death or not. You see what I'm saying? The husband was supposed to make the decision whether or not to stone her. You see what I'm saying? So, like, if the judges made the decision to stone her without the husband's permission, the nigga who threw the first stone was gonna get killed his damn self. You see what I'm saying? Jesus knew this. So it's like, Jesus like, okay. They come out, they say, man, this woman cheated. We supposed to stone her to death. Jesus is looking like, all right, well, shit. Throw the first stone in. Because, like, if the husband didn't okay that, whoever threw the first stone, that nigga getting killed. That's the actual context of why he said he who without sin throw the first stone. So then, because he knew the husband wasn't there. Second reason he trying to trick you is because what you don't understand is that Jewish law was under Roman law. Like, Rome ruled Jerusalem back then. Rome was running that whole shit. Jerusalem, like, they didn't have the right to kill that woman. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't stone her. That shit had to go through Rome. Like, same shit, like when they tried to kill Jesus, they couldn't kill Jesus. They had to run that shit through Pontius Pilate. They was like, Joe, they don't have the power to kill nobody, to do martial law. They got to go through Rome. That's the second way they trying to trick you. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's it. Like, think about why Jesus, like the whole Pontius Pilate. They was like, okay, we can't kill this nigga. We got to okay it through the governor. So if they wanted to kill that woman, it's no different. They would have had to run that shit through the governor. You said, was the governor there in that story? No. Was Rome there saying that it was okay to stone her? No. Okay then. So all this shit is kept. Jesus looking at this like he know this. You as a reader, you don't know this. You see what I'm saying? So you sitting there thinking, when you reading it, you take away the wrong moral implications of what you're supposed to take from. Now, you see what I'm saying? Jewish lawyers is Jewish lawyers because they understand, they've been trained like how to read a certain story and take away the right moral implications to create the laws and the shit that's going to govern and rule you, regardless if you believe in God or not. You see what I'm saying? So like this is the thing about atheists. A lot of atheists don't understand. It's like, Joe, you an atheist. You don't even believe in God, right? But then you going to go vote for motherfuckers that do believe in God, you know what I'm saying, who gonna rule and govern over you. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, so you literally voting for motherfuckers who gonna take an oath to God to rule over you. So you sacrifice, as an atheist, you sacrifice all your authority in the gate. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of atheists don't really understand. Like you're saying, they'll try to say, oh, well, this is fucking theocracy anyway. None of them, they're just going through the motions of putting their hand on the Bible. They don't believe in that shit either. They're probably fucking, like, they don't do it. No, right, but it don't fucking matter. You got to understand that the implication is still the authority is coming from the God of Christianity, regardless if you believe it or not. If you want that seat, you know what I'm saying, you're going to get up in here in front of all these people and say that where your authority came from, it came from Christianity, regardless if you believe in it or not. It ain't about whether or not you believe in it. It's about, do you understand what the fuck is really going on, like what that book really is and what it do and how it is the heart, literally the heart of the nation. You know what I'm saying? Atheists, you a fucking atheist. You sitting there voting for motherfucker to rule you. Who even got? And the whole time you sitting there saying people who are religious don't have logic. They're not reasonable. They live in a fantasy world. And then you literally go right outside and go vote for a nigga. No, yeah, he's a good candidate. He's a good fucking candidate. He's a good candidate. Don't this nigga, ain't this nigga got to take an oath to Christianity? I guess in all your fucking logic, you couldn't see the fucking, the asinine logic and that shit. You sitting there voting for a motherfucker to rule over you who just took an oath to the God that you don't even believe in. So let's stop and thank the God that you don't believe in for motherfuckers like that to rule over your ass. That's why critical thinking is everything. Hold on, what are we talking about? What is Uranus in our chart? I got Scorpio and Uranus. I'm Pluto, Scorpio. 90s, Pisces. Saturn, I turned 29 this year. Oh, happy birthday. Your time is coming pretty soon. Pretty decent. Grace White. Uranus, yes, Chris. Rey Mysterio is my dude. I love Rey Mysterio. Yeah, he called. I like his son, too. His son making it come up. I like to see the campaign they pushing for his son. Your Why I Hate Sagittarius video reminded me of the whole Andrew Tate situation. On point. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't really follow Andrew Tate. I mean, I've seen clips of him on YouTube, and for the most things I've heard him say, like, it's just right, some sad shit. It's like I don't really look at him as what they calling him, like a misogynist and all the shit that they trying to make him out. I just look at it like, man, that's motherfucking sag, nigga. Like, there's some sag shit. Like, it's hard for me to mind you, I'm sure even if everything they're saying may be true about him, to me it just looked like fucking sag. Like, I've seen this before. It's motherfucking sag, nigga. Like, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, Randy Orton, my son love Randy Orton. Hey, what up? Villain and heroes because people lack occult knowledge. Yeah, a lot of people do like occult knowledge. But a lot of what I broke down earlier in this video, as far as like what I'm talking about Melchizedek and like the Remech and stuff like this, when you get stuff that predate occult, like that's what the Remech is, like the remnant. Like that's what you really understand the remnant, man. Like do some research on the remnant, like the original remnant. Like mine is always a remnant. It's different remnants, but the original remnant was ones from the flood. You know what I'm saying? And like how they didn't convert to the nation, like they didn't go through Pathros, they didn't go through Mizraim, like they stayed with the original truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, that's what pathruism is. Like, people really don't understand, like, pathruism, like, motherfuckers don't understand that shit. Like, this was shit started to go left, like, before Babylon. You know what I'm saying? But it was some motherfuckers who stayed with the truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers in Babylon started talking about the sun and moon was inside the earth going up and down. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, motherfucker, you read Genesis 1, it tells you, it's like, nah, like, no. That shit is the sun shines light on the earth. You know what I'm saying? So it's not inside going up and down. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers started seeing this shit all the way back then. Like you had the original remnant who saw this shit start to take form. They was like, man, hold on, these motherfuckers tweaking. Like the whole concept of like when they took clay, like the whole concept of God taking clay, right, and making man out of clay. You know what I'm saying? Eventually became bricks. Like when men are taking bricks. You know what I'm saying? They tell you this in the Bible. The once like bricks was like the first major technology. The motherfuckers figured out like, okay, hold on, we can actually take mud and make this shit into bricks and build buildings and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once motherfuckers start doing that shit, they start building cities and shit. But I'm saying like people lose. People it's like something that simple. People don't understand like where the fuck bricks was inspired by like the remnant, like the understanding of the remnant, like how God made man out of clay and how man made bricks out of clay. Like shit like that. Like the Bible tell you shit like that. But like if you can't pick up, if like you don't understand that shit, like no, like look, this is where shit originated from. This was like the synthetic version of it. You see what I'm saying? And like that's how Satan is. Like Satan do that type of shit. Like that's how Satan is throughout the whole Bible. It's like okay, like Satan is like something to come real close. It's like close, but it's like right there, like where you think it's like fake light. It's like you got real light and then you got like fake light. Where like fake light can light up a room just like a black light. A black light light up a room just like how a real light can. Like essentially, like you grew up your entire life under black light, not knowing that like Joe, that ain't even real light. Like the light we on, like they ain't even real fucking light. Like if you saw real light, nigga, you go fucking blind. Believe it or not. Like the light that we actually see right now is just enough for us to sustain our vision. But if you saw actually like real light, like when I say let there be like the idea, like the like inside God's mind, like the actual light, nigga, you fucking fry like fucking some fucking French fries and buff, like this shit would fry your ass. Like you can like real light is not even visible. You know what I'm saying? So you always got a knockoff of the original shit. Like the Bible will show you that shit. Like a lot of times that's why it takes so much reading to really understand like these types of things that it's talking about. It's like okay, it's always like Jay-Z say, once you tag name the games, follow the leader. Like it's always somebody like China on some China shit. Like that's how Satan is. It's like okay, we gonna do the same shit, but it's not the same, but it's very close. So it's like a generic version. You know what I'm saying? And humans ain't gonna know the difference. So they're gonna always take the generic shit. But it's just like in fucking American Gangster when Frank Lucas told Cuba Gooding Jr. character when he I can't think that motherfucking name who he was playing. Nino Brown, nigga. What the fuck is his name? I can't think of his name. You know what I'm saying? But he told him, he was like, Joe, you can't copy my shit and call it blue magic. You gotta call your shit red magic. You gotta call yourself something different. Cause like what he was doing, he was taking Frank Lucas, Denzel character, you know, Frank Lucas shit and chopping it down. Like he was adding cut to it. Like you add, cut, you do cocaine, flour, motherfuckers put rat poison, put all type of shit, Tylenol. You know what I'm saying? They chop up fucking sugar, you know what I'm saying? They, like to stretch it out, to stretch the coke out. You know what I'm saying? It's called stretching coke. So I'm saying, so like, you know what I'm saying? Nicky Barnes, that's who the fuck he's playing. Nicky Barnes was stretching the coke. You know what I'm saying? And calling it blue magic, he was calling it the same. You know what I'm saying? Blue magic was pure fucking cocaine from Colombia. You know what I'm saying? And he told him, he's like, Joe, you can't put cut in my shit and still be calling it blue magic, because blue magic is pure cocaine. He's like, motherfucker, you can't fuck up my name brand calling your shit blue magic when it's really not blue magic. You know what I'm saying? He was like, all right, fuck it, I'll call it red magic. I'll just call it something different. He was like, all right, you call it whatever the fuck you want to call it, just don't call it blue magic. Because like motherfuckers on the street will start to associate fake shit with real shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, Joe, that ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? And like once you get when you study the Bible so hard, you start to recognize like fake shit and real shit. It's just like cocaine. It's just like fucking American Gangster. Like but just with religion. So like when you're saying like true religion, kingdom, philosophy, like motherfucker, okay, are you talking about the kingdom? Do you understand the Melchizedek order? Like Jesus come from the Melchizedek order. Like, do you understand? Like if people don't understand these types of things, you start to identify the cut. You say, okay, that's like you have fucking Colombian cocaine, Russian cocaine, American cocaine, motherfucking cocaine from motherfucking Mexico, cocaine from Jamaica, cocaine from fucking Afghanistan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You snort enough cocaine, eventually you're gonna start to know where the fuck that shit came from. Just like weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, there's different types of weed. You know what I'm saying? But like cocaine, it's different in that like motherfuckers introduce cut. So like you start to identify the cut. So what I'm saying? So like you got pure religion, but then you got cut. So like motherfucker put like Roman Catholic cut. Like, okay, that's cut. That's flour. Motherfucking sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like you got pure religion. Motherfuckers constantly trying to put cut. It's just the same shit motherfuckers do with astrology. Like that's why astrology is all cut though. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what they call the hem. The hem of the garment. It's like the outside, the outer circle. Like you got the core circle, which is like cocaine, nigga, like pure religion. You know what I'm saying? Pure cocaine, pure worship. The outside that you got like the shit that hang on the fringe of that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Roman Catholic Church, Protestant. You know what I'm saying? Different types of forms of Christianity. You know what I'm saying? Where like they still be mixing in pagan shit with real shit. Like certain Christians who still got buy Christmas trees and shit like that. Or like motherfuckers who still celebrate Easter, do the Easter eggs and all that. That's all like pagan shit that be mixed in, or called fusion, mixed in with pure religion, right? Then outside of that shit, you got like where we be at, like with astrology and the zodiacs and all that type of shit, with like, you know, mysticism and all that type of shit, right? Then outside of that, you got like the occult, which is like motherfuckers who know, like they going to like demonology and that type of shit, and like, you know what I'm saying, like witchcraft and putting spells on type of motherfuckers and divination and all that type of shit. Like, you got like outside of that shit, like, you know what I'm saying? So like, what the Bible do, it give you a real good way to identify a cut. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like cut. Like you go up in the motherfucking like the Mexican store and they got the candles in there, like with the little Mexican, the saints and shit like that. You like, oh yeah, that's a Dominican cut. Dominican, like the Dominican Roman Catholic Church. That's what they do. Like they fusion in like voodoo and like the saints and all that type of shit with Roman Catholic Church. You know what I'm saying? You got it's all types of cut. You know what I'm saying? Same shit. Like I've said, I don't know if I said this on this channel before. Like if you bought some Jordans or if you bought a diamond, you know what I'm saying, and you went and gave that shit to your girl, or if you was a girl, you gave that shit to your man. You know what I'm saying? And your spouse tell you, man, this shit fake. That ring is fake. It's a fake diamond. Them Jordans is fake. You be like, man, how is fake? I just paid fucking $6,000 for this damn diamond. I just paid fucking $300 from the Jordans. How this shit fake? Cause look, if you look right here on the little thing right here with the you see the corner right there, or like they show you, you know, you look at the way that the fog is in this little diamond right here. You got a little magnifying glass. You look at it, oh shit. Yeah, look at the way that the thread hang off the Jordan right there. You can tell that shit. You know, you're like, oh shit, that shit is fake. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, nah. So motherfucker go back to the store where they got it from. They like, man, hold on, Joe, you sold me some fake Jordan. You sold me a fake ass diamond ring. They're saying the motherfucker sold it. Man, hold on, which I ain't sell you no fake shit. What the fuck you talking about? You show them, you like, man, look. You show them what your spouse showed you. You know what I'm saying? They like, oh shit. Like, right, well, hold on, you didn't know that? You're like, no, motherfucker, apparently you didn't know that shit either. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck is you out here selling shit and you don't even know if the shit fake or real? You see what I'm saying? Like, how the fuck you out here buying shit, nigga, and you don't know the shit fake or real? Like, and that's how you gotta look at. That's exactly how you gotta look at a lot of times when you dealing with religion. Like, the motherfucking pastors, the motherfucking church stuff, they out here pushing fake shit, and they don't know they damn self. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you be trying to come at them like they bogus or like they know different, like they don't fucking know either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we call it literally the blind leading the blind. You know what I'm saying? And like if you don't approach shit a lot of times like that, like with that type of understanding, it's like, Joe, he don't even know his damn self, Joe. He don't know either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh shit, like you can't come at the church like that per se. It's like motherfucker don't know what false religion is. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, false religion. What the fuck is false religion? Right, nigga, the Antichrist, nigga. It's like the reverse card. Like that's how people think reverse, and I don't know if I said this on here before, but like the reverse is not opposite. Like when you're doing a tarot card, like a lot of times people think reverse is like 180 degree opposite. It's like, no, nigga, it's reverse. Nigga, it's the same shit backwards. It's like it ain't opposite, it's backwards. It's the same shit. Nigga, just it's like when you on your phone, you do a selfie. You like, that's a good picture. And then you open it up, and then it be to reverse the picture on your ass, and you be like, oh shit, I look like shit. You be like, damn, how the fuck? You like, damn, that shit look good when I did it this way, but then like it throw you off because the whole shit be reversed. You know what I'm saying? You be like, damn, I got to reverse. Hold on. So like you start looking at your face and start realizing one half of your face is fucking not symmetrical. You start seeing all that shit because the fucking image be reversed. And like what you see looking in the mirror is not what the fuck other people, when they look at you, that's not what they see. You just seeing a reversed image of yourself. It's not the opposite. So when motherfuckers talk about like the Antichrist and shit like that, it's not like Satan coming. It's like, no, it's like Christ but backwards. That's like the Pope. It's like the same shit but backwards. You know what I'm saying? Like Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. What is it? John, I think 18:25. I could be John 18:20, something like that. John 18, somewhere John 18. Say my kingdom is not of this world. If it was, they bust up in here and whoop your ass. So when you see the Roman Catholic Church putting stake in the kingdom of this world, you be like, Joe, like how is this? This ain't, it's not of this world, man. This is of this world. You got bishops meeting with governors and mayors and cardinals meeting with fucking presidents and governors and shit. Like, this is literally of this world. You're saying people really don't understand the Vatican. You talking about the Vatican, you talking about all the way crazy shit. And they're like you got fucking cardinals in motherfucking Africa and shit like that. Africa don't fuck with no gay people. They be like, they'll kill your ass for getting gay. And you got cardinals and bishops associating with that government. Then you go in the motherfucking United States, motherfucker, you can go up in the motherfucking gay church and get married. You're saying you got same shit, you got bishops and Vaticans fucking with that statehood. So if you the Vatican and you getting reports from Africa that they over here killing gay motherfuckers. Then you get motherfucking reports over here saying they marrying gay motherfuckers, and you the Vatican, and you okay? What the fuck? Like, what stance you gonna take? Like, you see what I'm saying? When you get these cardinals and bishops have influence over different regions, like, you see what I'm saying? And like, but it'd be like, nah, the region got more influence over the damn church. You see what I'm saying? That's why they say it's not of this world. You know what I'm saying? It's not, it can't be of this world. You know what I'm saying? So like, you gotta be identified like false, like, okay, the reason this shit is false religion. You know what I'm saying? But like at the same time, they don't know, like, they don't know. They just, you know, motherfuckers be pushing shit rolls downhill. You know what I'm saying? So like, don't nobody go fact check. The same reason why you said, how did false religion get started? Cain. How? He didn't fact check. They just went and grabbed the shit right out the damn dirt and threw the shit up there. Like, yo, the ground cursed, nigga. Do you know, like, right now, I'm gonna do, he ain't give a fuck. You gonna go out there and do whatever the fuck you wanna do. And it's like it's all worship is not acceptable. You see what I'm saying? So you got like all these people out here doing literally with Cain. It's like they're gonna do the shit how they wanna do it. Not even reading the book and understanding what the fuck it is they doing. So I'm saying that's literally what false religion is. So like you don't understand like the beginning of false religion, like Joe, this is how false religion started. You got motherfuckers like Cain. The same shit, you go up in the church right now, you ask anybody, like, Joe, pastor, you go over any pastor, you like, pastor, what? Why did Cain sacrifice not get accepted? Why you know, oh, they're gonna start doing, they're gonna show you why they shit is false. They're gonna start making shit up right there on the spot. They're not gonna go to Genesis 3:17 and show them that the ground is cursed. Now, mind you, what they saying may be true. It may or may not be true. It's debatable. I'm not here to say that what they saying ain't true. Oh, you needed blood. That may be true. It may not be true. Does the Bible say that? No. Oh, it's because it was half-hearted. Does the Bible say that? No. It may be true, but does the Bible say that? No. What does the Bible say? The Bible specifically says that the ground was cursed, and then literally 10 verses later, like, mind you, Joe, it's literally 10 verses in between that. That's what people fucking stupid, Joe. You got to read the book. Like, they tell you, it was Genesis 3:17, something like that, 3:18. The ground was cursed. Now, between Genesis 3:18, you literally get to Genesis 4:3. Like, I think Genesis only got like 25 verses in. So I'm saying, so you're talking like from, don't lose me. You're talking Genesis like 17 to 25, I think it is. Then like verse 1, 2, and 3 and verse 4. That's really like 10, it's only like 10 verses. In between, they literally curse the ground. Then 10 verses later, you just got to turn the page to a different chapter. So this is what throw people off. And then like, it's literally like, it's the chapter is what throw people off. But if you were sitting there reading it, you're talking literally like 9 sentences, like they cursed the ground, literally like 10 sentences later, you got the sun sitting there playing in the ground. Now, this takes intelligence. Like I say, the Bible will do shit to make sure you're paying attention. It'd be like, Joe, you see that? They just cursed the ground, that son over there picking up shit off the ground, trying to give it to God. And he don't understand why God ain't taking it. Now, we're not going to tell you no more than we going to tell him. You know what I'm saying? We just need to see if your ass is paying attention. So I'm saying, so when you go ask your pastor, be like, okay, well, what happened? And he start making shit up. There ain't shit about a book. All you gotta do is go write in a book and show him, like, Joe, the book say that it's only fucking 10 verses between this shit. Are you even paying attention? Like, oh, right. You doing exactly what Cain is doing, nigga. You not reading. First of all, you're not reading. You don't have the resource, and you're over there making the shit up as you go along. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand this, and like this is where you get accurate understanding. You understand where this shit came from, you're able to explain it better than somebody else who won't be able to get the same moral implications. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say Jews make the best lawyer, because they're going to pay attention to the shit you ain't even see. You might just be right there. Let's say in was it John 8:6? It's like, Joe, they trying to trick your ass. But if you don't even know how they trying to trick your ass, you ain't read the book, they going to trick your ass. Like you trying to interpret some shit like Babylon, like from your own interpretation, from your own understanding. You know what I'm saying? That's what John 8:44 will tell you. They say, look, don't speak on the Bible without quoting the Bible. Like, you got to quote the Bible. You got to quote the scripture. If you're trying to do it from your own native language, from your own understanding, from your own, what they call it, your own native language, your own, speak it from your own, you know what I'm saying? You're doing the work of Satan. Satan made that blueprint that come from Cain. It's like motherfuckers making freestyle and shit. Like, I'm sitting there and freestyle a whole video of religious shit. Like, it's like, no, nigga. Oh, yeah, the God is, but the Bible is the same thing as ancient as fucking Egypt and Horus. It's like, did you know how stupid you sound? You ain't even, it's like, Joe, that ain't even what, like, Joe, you know how abstract what the fuck you just said is? Like, that ain't even concrete at all. Like, nothing what you even said is concrete about what you even said. Nothing. This is the fucking stupidity people live with. You still got atheists out here voting for people who take an oath to fucking God. Like, Joe, what the fuck? mindless, like you think what I'm saying is not deep. It's just the understand when you understand how to apply biblical principle, you see what the fuck people missing. You be like, Joe, like this is why if I was a Jewish lawyer, nigga, I fucking run laps around motherfuckers. Joe, I'd be like, Joe, you don't even know what you don't know. You don't even know what you don't know. Like, Joe, like, please. You're talking about some authority. Authority, right? Where's authority come from? Authority? Oh, that's like, you mean like controlling people? Like, no, nigga, no. See, you can't even talk to people. Motherfuckers tweet. That's why they say Jewish lawyers, you can motherfuckers pay attention to detail. Like, no, authority is the power to control. Where does the power, the actual power to control people? Motherfucker can't even control fucking 3 people in that fucking house. How you gonna control a whole nation full of fucking 15 million people? You can't even control your motherfucking dog fucking running across the fucking street. So I'm saying, where does the authority come from? The authority has to come from an outside source. You see what I'm saying? If we don't even know what authority is, you see what I'm saying? And how that goes into nation building. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand this shit. The Constitution is not just a fucking piece of paper. It's a dedication to God. You know what I'm saying? That's why most people put their hand on the Bible and take an oath to protect that shit, not protect their own interests. You know what I'm saying? And if you, like I say, Isaiah 6 will tell you, man, you read the Bible over and over again. Isaiah 6 says you got eyes and can't see. You got eyes, you gonna look. You ain't gonna see shit. You gonna hear everything I'm saying. But you ain't like the words gonna hit your ears, but you ain't gonna hear none of what I'm saying. You got eyes can't see, ears can't hear, mind can't understand. Why? Because it has nothing to do with the eyes, ears, and mind. It has to do with the heart. You go back to the parable of the sower, dude throwing the seeds. The fucked up ground. The ground is the heart. The heart fucked up. You know what I'm saying? This is how you can't get the moral implications. You know what I'm saying? What's the Bible about? Oh, it's about fucking Sky Daddy raping some fucking teenage girl. Right. Heart fucked up. See what I'm saying? Heart fucked up. So they can't even tell you what's about. They like I say, Jesus speaking parables. Okay, well, I'm just gonna speak in parables. Certain people are gonna hear the story. Other people are gonna hear the moral implications of the story. The crowd only gonna hear the story. It's literally what Matthew 13:11 is. Say, Jesus, why are you talking? What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you talking to people in riddles and parables? Because say the secrets of the kingdom is for you, not for them. You say the prophecy of Isaiah is being fulfilled. Motherfuckers gonna look, by all means look, but don't see. By all means, say listen, but don't hear. Well, hear, but don't listen, or whatever. The vice versa, whatever. Jimi Hendrix and fucking white man can't jump. You hear Jimmy? I'm listening. I don't hear right. You can hear, but can't see. Like so, you can't hear Jimmy, bro. Basically, you can't hear Jimmy. You can't hear Jesus. You know. So your mind don't understand, but it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the heart. So what the Bible really do is give you a way to read people's hearts. Is like I say, is your heart in this? Is your heart in it? Do you really understand what the Bible's about? Is your heart in it? To the point, is your heart in it? No? Okay, well, you're just going to hear parables. That's all you're going to hear is parables. All you're going to hear is stories and fucking bunch of riddles and shit ain't going to never make sense. You got eyes, but you can't see. You got ears, like Tupac said, you can't see me. 1,000 pairs of eyes. But the boys are blind, can't see. You will never see that shit. 1,000 pairs of eyes. Niggas can't see me like John Cena. You know what I'm saying? Put the book. Motherfucker go to church their whole life. Motherfucker in their 60s, 70s. Like, what's the Bible about? Oh, well, it's about a bunch of stories of how God's people came from out of Israel to a land that was promised to them. And if you love your neighbor, then you like, so how long you been going to church? I've been in the church my entire life. Right. What was Jesus' main teaching? Jesus' main teaching was to love your neighbor and to show mercy and love your enemies and to praise God. Show me in the Bible where it say that. That was his main thing. No. Okay, you take them right to Acts 1:3. It show you. It say Jesus came back and he was walking around talking about the kingdom of God. Like that's the main teaching. Jewish lawyer. You know what I'm saying? I can't. That's why they don't put one person in a jury. They put 12. They put 12 of y'all motherfuckers up there. You see what I'm saying? Because ain't no way you could depend on the moral implications of just one person. You see what I'm saying? You need 12 to even begin to get to the actual heart. Because like Jeremiah 17:9 say, motherfucker, the heart is corrupt. You know what I'm saying? The heart is corrupt. You know what I'm saying? People's hearts corrupt. So you put 12 of them in one room, they all take part of each other. That's like a double-dodecahedron. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna kind of seal. It's gonna give more accountability. So I'm saying on the 12 times level. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't depend on one person's own moral implications. But in certain situations, you got a judge, like when a judge makes the ruling, yeah, if you one person, you're gonna have to go with his moral implications. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't understand what he don't understand, I mean, if you don't understand what he understands, right, you short. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you gotta have the right understanding. When you get up from the judge and you start talking, you know what I'm saying? This one like Masons fuck around with that type of shit. They're fucking around with the language. Like they'll say some shit like, I came a long way from the east. I'm traveling east, and I was looking for, like they'll start doing like this. I'm looking for a man who can help deliver a message for me. They start talking like this and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like another Mason, I hear that shit and hear, oh shit, that's the Mason Masonic greeting. You see what I'm saying? And like saying shit, you go up in front of a judge, you know what I'm saying, and you start using the right words. You see what I'm saying? The judge gonna know that you have more moral implications than somebody who's not using the right words. You see what I'm saying? And just for example, like I'm not saying these are the exact words, but certain words like authority, certain words like sovereignty, they trigger certain higher level observations from the judge. You see what I'm saying? Authority, kingdom, forgiveness, mercy, love. Those are just a couple examples. You see what I'm saying? But like authority, oath, responsibility, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's one word I'm trying to think. I just can't think of that shit. I'm drawing on shit. This fucking weed. Damn, what the fuck is that word, man? I can't even think of it. But yeah, it's certain words to to make a judge, look at you differently than the other people that's walking through the door. You know what I'm saying? With their hands behind their back, sitting there shuffling back and forth. You know what I'm saying? When you go in and say, "Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Judge." Shit, like when you address them, like, you know what I'm saying? They call your name. You know what I'm saying? They're like, Joe Smith. You know what I'm saying? He walk up there, he don't even address the judge. You know what I'm saying? The judge start talking. You've been charged with such. You know what I'm saying? He only walk up there, "Good morning, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Your Honor." Like, he don't even address the judge. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. I'm not saying they're gonna make or break your case. You know what I'm saying? But the shit that the judge got a book that he looking at. It's like, okay, they already know the number or whatever. If it's gonna be a fine, a lien, a price, or whatever the fucking he gonna judge on your ass, that shit is already written down. It's up to him to determine how much of that shit he want to hit your ass with. So a lot of that shit come across on how you come across right there in the court. A lot of times it don't even have shit to do with what the fuck even happened. You know what I'm saying? It got to do with like how you know what I'm saying, how you word the shit and how you tell your side of the story in court. You know what I'm saying? And how you know what really happened a lot of times really don't matter. It's just how you explain that shit and how you come across in court. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The truth really don't matter. You know, because the truth obviously do matter. But like from a judge perspective, looking at the time or looking at the punishment, the only thing that's going, man, what the fuck is that word? Damn, I can't think of that word. That's driving me crazy. The only thing that's gonna make him more lenient towards you is how you address him right then and there. You see what I'm saying? Like if he's gonna give you the max punishment or not. You see what I'm saying? It's gonna be how you handle yourself, you know what I'm saying, right there as this situation playing out. So I'm saying, so you can, the best thing you can do is like load your vocabulary and like, you know what I'm saying, for situations like that. You know what I'm saying? Not just even in a judgment setting, but just in any situation where like, you know what I'm saying, where anybody's trying to pass judgment on you. So I'm saying how you respond to shit like that is tears directly into your character. You see what I'm saying? So when you know what I'm saying, when you get a good moral implication, you develop a stronger conscience. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you got a weak conscience, you know what I'm saying, there's a lot of shit that like your conscience tell you not to do. And you go ahead and do that shit anyway, man. It's in the Bible. They say like the wise listen to their conscience, but the stupid go right past that shit. You see what I'm saying? And it's like your conscience, you either got a strong conscience or you got a weak conscience, and you got to really work on strengthening your conscience. Because like if your conscience is gone, mind you, a lot of air signs integrity be fucked up because saying shit like they motherfucker ain't got no conscience, or like they don't listen to their conscience because they got a weak conscience. So like my motherfucking conscience be saying, man, don't do that shit, don't do that shit, don't do that shit. You know you need to stop. I'm talking about the same shit, addictive, being captive, idolizing, shit like that. You got a weak subconscious, your integrity be fucked up. So then you start lying about the shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, shit like that. You know, you pop. And mind you too, like strengthening your conscience take practice. You know what I'm saying? It's like Jiminy Cricket, motherfucking Pinocchio. Like he was like a conscience. Pinocchio wasn't listening to that shit. You know what I'm saying? Pinocchio was kind of like saying she ain't had no template. He was just kind of lost, shuffling through the world. And Jiminy Cricket had the moral implication. He understood. It's like hold on, man, like slow down. You don't want to do that. Kind of do it this way. You know what I'm saying? Like emotional intelligence. No, not emotional intelligence, but moral intelligence. So you know what I'm saying? The moral of the story. If I tell you a story and you pick up on all the wrong shit versus somebody who pick up on the right shit, who can make the right judgment, plant the right seed, so in the right heart. You know what I'm saying? Shit like this. Astrology, you know what I'm saying? Zodiac sign can't teach you shit like this. You know what I'm saying? So, it take practice. You know what I'm saying? And but you want to a lot of times we already fucking with this type of shit, spirituality, occult and shit like that. Your conscience be ticking. It be tick, 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 tick. Now you guys show, is it getting louder? Tick, 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 or is it getting quieter? To the point you don't even hear that motherfucker no more. But everybody in here came with a conscience. You know what I'm saying? Everybody came, we all came in here with one. If you don't hear that motherfucker no more, then somewhere you didn't shut that motherfucker off. You know what I'm saying? So like that's where you done fell off the wagon. You know what I'm saying? And you wanna get back into those types of understanding. Now, mind you, you're gonna run into some ratchet people who you gotta hit with a brutality. You gotta just destroy their ass on the spot. Like, you know what I'm saying? When they, certain people with the wrong energy, you know what I'm saying? You run into crackheads, certain people who just ain't done the inner work. And they signed, the shit they own, you done ran them through all your, templates, and you read your chart, you see they fucked up, and you gotta eat to their ass, and hey, you gotta pull a sword out, cut their motherfucking head off. I mean, if you gotta do that, that's you gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? But that don't change the fact you still gonna need content for your brain to think about when you're dealing with people who have the moral implications of what we're talking about. So everybody ain't into astrology. A lot of people is into the Bible. A lot of people don't really understand the Bible the way they think they understand it. You know what I'm saying? So if you already understand astrology, you got one leg up in the way that you are able to, you have a higher IQ, and the fact that you're able to sit through some shit that probably your subconscious already told you, already been, man, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. You probably already shut your subconscious off already to start studying this shit already. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people who can do that and force themselves to learn some shit that they don't really want to learn, or like force themselves to like read some shit that they don't even understand, and then go cross reference the shit that they don't understand. Like, okay, I'm reading this, I don't understand what that word is. I go Google this and I come back to it, and then I read this and I Google it. Like that whole type of shit is high IQ. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's low moral compass. The more you get like that, the more your morals, you get irritated, more people disrupt you. People come knock on the door, you get a phone call. So I'm saying you gotta get back into reality and be more irritating. So I'm saying, so like a lot of people with high IQ have low emotional intelligence. You know what I'm saying? That's not always true. So I'm saying, so when you the good thing about the fact that about having a good IQ, you can force yourself to learn some shit that you typically wouldn't want to understand. So I'm saying, so when it comes to the Bible, if you understand the moral implications of that, the same way a Jewish lawyer can understand the moral implications of reading a story of somebody breaking the law, when you're able to understand those things, it give you a way more bigger scope, and it give you a more solid core for it. You know what I'm saying? To just deal with things in the integrity of what we were talking about earlier, as far as planting seeds and the fruit, and like the type of biology of you planting seeds in the fruit and in your heart, and keeping your heart separate, from separating into the shadows of the occult. You know what I'm saying? The occult is only gonna get you so far when especially when you're dealing with demons and shit like that. It's like, yeah, you gonna need some of that, but Like when you like good thing about like spiritual order Melchizedek, like that's what we're talking about. Like Jesus Christ comes from the order of Melchizedek. So same thing. Like it ain't like Jesus don't know astrology. Like Jesus know astrology. Jesus know all that. Jesus know about Horus, Osiris. Like he knows comedics. Like same thing. Like Melchizedek, it's been argued Melchizedek was the one who taught Khufu, the biggest pyramid, like pyramid of Khufu in Egypt. That's the big ass. When you see that big ass pyramid in Egypt, that big one, it's called the pyramid of Khufu. You know what I'm saying? It's believed that Melchizedek was the one who taught Khufu the pyramid design, the triangle. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that, like, mind you, this is not in the Bible. This is just speculation. I'm just telling you, this is speculation. But it's called concept called pyramidology. It was real big in the late 1800s, in the early 1920s. You know, it's called pyramidology. So I'm saying, and they were saying how like it was believed, like it's speculation, that Melchizedek and the remnant were the ones, like I said, the remnant were the ones that taught the ancient Egyptians or the Comedics, the ones that taught them the sacred um, uh, geometry. You know what I'm saying? That the shapes, certain shapes had certain power. Like you said, like the 5-point star is symbolic of Satan, and how the 6-point star is symbolic of you know, they use it for the flag of Israel, or like same shit even in the heart chakra. Like those types of shapes was inspired by the original remnant, but they were taken by ancient Sumerians, people, ancient Babylon, ancient Egypt, and through people trying to clout chase, they changed. You know, different people change. You know, things get changed. That's how shit work out a lot of time. But you know what I'm saying. But it's believed Melchizedek was the one that, and the remnant were the ones that taught those things to ancient Egypt. You see what I'm saying? And this is a speculation, but I'm only saying that to say that like the Bible don't tell you those things, and it's a reason. Like you don't want to say secrecy, because like a lot of times Masons move in secrecy per se, but just like Moses was a fucking established Egyptian priest. You know what I'm saying? But at some point in his life, he had to make a decision to follow one God. You know what I'm saying? And understand who that God was, to the point where it's like he had a friendship with that God. You know what I'm saying? And you start to understand is that God don't particularly like us fucking with the occult and fucking with that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make a decision. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, you can't erase what you already know. It's not like Moses could go back and say, okay, well, I already know all this stuff. It's not like I can't delete the shit that I know. So okay, so what do I do? It's okay, right? Well, you know it, but interpret it through the word of God. Interpret it through accurate knowledge. Like, you know what I'm saying? In that the order of Melchizedek is, they said, a king and a priest. So it's not like you say, we don't know what the occult is. It's not like we don't know what paganism is. We know what these things are, but we also know that they have a place. In that, like this is not like, I'm not a slave to a cult. Like I'm. They said like Melchizedek worship the one true God. So just like in the Bible, there's a maturity, and then like they go from Cush, Adam, you know, from Garden of Eden, then they go through ancient Babylon and through all of this paganism. They come out of that. They come out of Egypt into, you know, the promised land, to Jerusalem, to true knowledge, true understanding. Mind you, then it falls. It gets destroyed. Then they have to rebuild it, and it keeps falling. You know, it starts stumbling. I'm saying that's really the story of us. Is how exactly what we're supposed to go through. It's like, okay, you come out of your mother's womb. You know what I'm saying? You go into, you get bumped in your head. You go through different trials and tribulations in life. Some of us been through some horrible things in our childhood that make us start turning into the occult, start turning into spiritualism to try to understand why these things happen. So saying we get deeper understanding. You know what I'm saying? It's just the same shit happened in the Bible. They go through Babylon, you know what I'm saying, ancient Sumeria. But then you have certain people who made it, like certain people like Melchizedek, who make a decision. It's like, yeah, I know what all that stuff is, but I don't even speak on that stuff. My priesthood is based on specifically applying biblical principles, just like a Jewish lawyer. You see what I'm saying? So we know what these things are, but it's not a part of our ministry. You see what I'm saying? It has its place. These things are out. We understand we can explain them, but we explain them from the perspective that they are outside of our ministry. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's better off not to even speak on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you keep in secrecy per se. It's that you understand the difference between your ministry and what that shit is. A lot of people don't even know they have a ministry. It's like you have a ministry by default. It's just like when you sign up for Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, I'm at the end. When you sign up for Facebook, you got a profile. You see what I'm saying? It's just that you may not use it. You see what I'm saying? It's just like all of us have a ministry, we just may not be using it. Like you see what I'm saying? So like when you go into your ministry, you want to keep the occult shit outside, even though you know what it is, you just don't want to apply it. You know what I'm saying? With your ministry. You see what I'm saying? And that's like that's Melchizedek order type shit. Like you see what I'm saying? Especially you consider like where he come from, and then like the notion of him teaching um a cult information before it's a cult. It's like this ain't even a cult. You know what I'm saying? But like that's why Melchizedek is a mystery in the Bible, and then like they don't really speak on him too much. It's like it is what it is. He had no father, he had no mother, but he was a priest and a king, and he was the one that blessed Abraham in the name of the one true God from the city of Shalom. That's it. Anything outside of that is a cult. You see what I'm saying? So some of these things I'm talking about in this video. So like, the only reason I'm explaining is I want y'all to understand exactly what I'm saying. So the order of Melchizedek keeps things still in. And you think about Jesus Christ coming in the order of Melchizedek, he comes in that order. So it's like you think about Jesus being tempted by the devil and him kicking him with the devil and the things that the devil showed him. You know what I'm saying? This is in Luke 3. And like they say Jesus was tempted by the devil. So I'm saying there's a maturity process in all of us as we go through the spiritual growth, and we're gonna go through that phase. But it's the goal is to come out of that. You know what I'm saying? Not to get stuck there. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. What y'all saying? But I got y'all heard my phone ring out. You know, so I gotta take this call. I gave y'all about what? Damn, this should be 3 hours. Damn, I said for 3 hours. Yeah, we got it in. So I gave y'all real good. I gave y'all a good video today. You know what I'm saying? On some. I'm glad y'all tapped in with me. You know what I'm saying? And you can always email me too, man. Y'all send me an email, K-Blao@hotmail.com. I think too, man. Y'all can get the motherfucking the super chat cracking, man. Y'all could, you know, y'all don't never. I ain't asking y'all for no money, man. But it just be like, when I be on other motherfuckers' pages and shit, I be seeing them motherfuckers. They be like, oh, thank you for that little $5, thank you for that $1, thank you for that $2. I be like, damn, motherfuckers don't give me shit. Like I literally sit there for 3 hours talking, motherfucker, I hit that motherfucker out one time. Like you know what I'm saying? I be like, damn, man, like, is it me? Like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Like, why the fuck do other people's pages be? You know what I'm saying? We hit my. I don't necessarily need the money. Like I really don't. You know what I'm saying? But it just be. I just be like, what the fuck? Like why is my shit? People fuck with me. They don't do shit. I be like, dude, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna holler at y'all on the flip side. And like I always say, I never said you.